powerhouses, I would say.
I'll take it.
We got some friends with us, too. I can see some beautiful artwork has been whipped up for us.
You guys are looking good. I'm not going to lie.
Mel, I like your glasses.
Where is his glasses? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, he's got them on deck. Lovely.
Okay, we're looking pretty good, guys, honestly.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like that I have a headset. I look very professional. But yeah, as we kick things off in week 6, let's take a little peek at the standings here and see where things are at. BCJ, only 2 weeks left here in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, the focus for most of these teams is going to be making playoffs, obviously, but you're going to be looking at that 5 to 8 range. These are the teams that are really looking to secure themselves a spot. These are the weeks that are going to do it. Actually, most of these teams in the 5 to 8 range are playing one another, so get ready for some interesting head-to-head matchups. I mean, these guys are going to be playing for do or die at this point for playoffs, so should be exciting matches all around.
Yeah, all of these matches count here towards the end of the season, and it's really interesting to me that there's something like 32,000 mathematical possibilities for this to go, and everything is so close. Everything matters, and it's honestly just like a coin flip at this point. It's hard to tell who's going to win these games with how many upsets have happened.
I'm really glad you're bringing some good, honest analysis already. She's ran the numbers to prepare for this weekend. You love to see it, but you also love to see some pretty good matches today. We got EG versus Sen kicking us off, and then C9 MIBR later today. That first one in particular is going to be pretty important for both those squads' chances towards the playoffs, VCJ.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important game for me for EG. I think Sentinels is one of those teams that has looked shaky, has looked very good. So you're not sure which version you're going to get today. Hopefully for me, we're going to get a shaky one. But yeah, love both the guys on both the teams. I have family on both teams, so it's going to be hard to root for one or the other. But yeah, I think this is a good match for both the teams to really show what progress they've had through the season. And, I mean, what better time to show it than right before playoffs?
Yeah, and that MIBR and versus Cloud9 game as well. That's Cloud9's chance to keep their near flawless season continuing 5-1 right now. And for MIBR, they're starting to run out of chances.
I know C9 is really hot on their heels too. Like, they're not trying to drop any maps. There was an interview with Zelsis, and he was really focused on talking about how they're incredibly focused on closing this out. They are not feeling complacent. They want every match, and every round matters. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of firepower and how much dominance they could potentially bring today.
Yeah, with 3 2 to 4 teams fighting for survival today, well, why don't you guys tell us who you think is going to win using the hashtags VCT Americas and VCT over on Twitter. Get to that website. Also, tell us what you think about these lovely artistic works of art that we have going on here. That's something that makes sense. But let's move on here. With school wrapping up and playoffs on the horizon, there's a lot of new eyes here on VCT. So I think it's time for another round of Taboo analysis. And for you two that are new to the show, this is a little segment that we like to do to, educate the new viewers, keep things nice and simple. You're both pro players, and I know you have a breadth of knowledge, but we want to keep things basic. So I'm going to ask no agent names, no ability names, no proper nouns, none of that fancy lingo. Does it seem reasonable?
Let's see what we got. I mean, this is going to be a struggle bus, but we're here.
Okay, well, I can do the first one here. Give a little demo on this one. We have Crew versus Loud, where the big ball of blinding ability is currently covering in main, and Sonic has the close-range kill multi-bullet gun inside of it. We get a little dangerous for him, but it's going to be the coordinate together on 2 sides to take the site as big beam laser come through and attempt to attack someone, but little overly cheap weapon is surprisingly effective. Still, trades are there, and now the control of the area you use to get into the site where you plant the device that wins you the round has been taken, and it's just got one guy remaining. He has little cowboy gun, and I don't think it's going to work out. Pretty good player, but shouldn't happen in this one. Les will run away. Okay, that's fine. Pretty basic round there.
Really good at that. Oh, have you practiced this?
I'm a professional
surprisingly really good at that.
I feel like you guys can do better. I mean, you guys play the game every day, right?
Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out, I guess.
Okay, let's get another round up here. Let's move on to Mel. If we can get that second one prep. This is gonna be one from the exact same matchup. So let's see some of that experience, some of that knowledge, please.
Okay, it looks like we're on the map where you are underground in paradise in a little dome, and then the girl that has the little shurikens is gonna go, and they're having double shuriken fight. She is sprinting, running up an area that has some pieces of things on the wall that are artistic. Just flying into the air. You see 130 behind her, running away, and then little flowers and dandelions are healing her, so she is back to full HP. A wave crashes onto the enemy Killjoy. He gets...
the what, sorry?
The enemy...
I just don't know.
I don't even know. I actually don't know what else to call her. the enemy German, and then she's just gonna. The American is going to fart everywhere, and it's gonna smell really bad, and it's so bad that you just get like a lung defect. So that's really unfortunate. I don't even know what to call that.
I'd say you did a very good job of explaining that one. What's happening now, though?
Right now, there's even more like stinky matter on the ground. They can't see anything. They're just holding mouse 1. I can say mice, right? Peripheral, surely.
It's an ant.
Everyone's just spamming. Everyone's just spraying. Little tiny gun that shoots 3 bullets at a time, going crazy. And, I mean, just finishes off. The fart really made the difference there, I feel like.
Would you agree with that assessment?
Wow, I mean, how am I supposed to follow that up? That was just well done.
Well
done.
Honestly, well done.
I don't believe you guys.
I feel like we learned a lot, some nationalities of all the players, but
Oh, here, we're going into this. He's going through the green orb. He's going to decide to, try to knife someone. He ends up dying. This guy comes out of nowhere, snipes him in the back. Now we have a standoff. It's like a Mexican duel, and everything's just happening all at once. That guy just ran out and just threw his life away. Now we have the big scope gun. The big scope gun, he is just activated. Look at him, he's sweating right now. He is activated, he is getting ready to go for more. Get his, some would say. Here he goes. This is gonna be a duel here, they're gonna fight. It's either gonna be the sniper or the rifle. He's gonna win this fight. There you go, they're gonna walk into it. The sniper gets his, jumps away, pulls out his knives. He decides the knives are better than weapons, and up the rope he goes to get the final kill. Wow, I mean, that was an insane round. Everything happened like instantly.
Yeah, I think you guys have a future in casting. I feel like I learned a lot.
So we're lying. He's got it.
Yeah, we'll see. All
right, well, we'll get them to work on their duo a little bit and get that one improved. While that happens, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have the big brain proper noun analysis that you guys all really want to see straight on the other side.
Pushing forward, Sassy with the first one taken, a quick reset, touchdown, okay! I don't know that they're going to be expecting. Oh my gosh, they have no idea! Ethan makes the meal out of Leviathan!
Welcome back to VCT Americas. Let's talk about our first match of the day. We're going to be spinning into week 6 with EG versus Sentinels. Both of these NA squads are 2-4 at the moment, which means the social media team is probably sweating.
Oof, I mean, this is a tough one. I didn't even know we had a social media team until I was told recently. So
you learn something new every day.
We're getting, more inclined. No, just kidding. Love those guys. We do a bunch of content with them. We love them. And look at, oh my God, they're so handsome. Look at that guy right there. That's Alex Moore. Oh my God.
This is the analysis we brought you.
We got Tony coming in. Look at Tony, big man.
He is a big
Boosty, IGO. We got Max coming in and Coach Christine Puater.
All right, well, thank you for that one. I really appreciate it. But Mel, these boys who you're looking at on your screen, who are BCJ, are very handsome. They had a pretty good match last week. They got, I think, their first big upset, getting that 2-1 victory over Leviathan.
Yeah, they're coming into this week, honestly, with a pretty big win on their shoulders. They're coming in on a high, on like a huge high note. Leviathan has been hyped up pretty much this entire split, and rightfully so. I think that win is really going to give them the confidence against Sentinels that could make this a really close match.
Yeah, and BCJ, this seems like a big improvement over some of the previous matches for EG, where they would start strong, have these good ideas, and it would kind of fall apart in the later parts of these matches. But here, they really stayed resilient and were adapting till the end.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, you've seen how strong we've looked. Obviously, coming out like 9-3 has been obviously the 9-3 curse, but we come out games really strong sometimes. And I think for me, it's the comfortability. These guys are getting comfortable. They're getting comfortable in their role and in each other, and that is really what's extending that lead. And it's giving them the wins that they couldn't quite find. We couldn't quite close out in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mel.
I was thinking too that it's really interesting they took a win off of Leviathan, considering that the narrative being that EG is pretty prep heavy and they do like a lot of game planning and stuff like that against Leviathan, who's a team that is pretty heavy in the protocols and stuff like that. And this week they're playing against a team that is a little less structured. I mean, they're bringing in Icemen. Like, they have like a week or two of practice. They're far less like structured than a team like Leviathan. So I wonder how they're going to fare against that.
It's a very different stylistic matchup for this one. But one thing that you wanted to talk about from that game that was an improvement for EG was their anti-ecos throughout that game were much stronger.
And I think even Potter herself said, I think a week 3 or week 4 interview, she said, these damn anti-ecos are just haunting us. And if you look at the Loud game, they lost 2 anti-ecos in 1 half in a match that ended 13-10. They could have 2-0'd Loud that day had they potentially not gotten ecoed or thrifty twice. And I think they got thrifty the first half as well. So seeing them clean up those anti-ecos versus Leviathan, only getting 50 to once, which is still a lot, but it's still a huge improvement. And I'm looking to see them improve in that regard for this week.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you got to get these rounds down against the Pistols. I think we've seen a lot of it recently with Cloud9's success, with the Frenzies and the Stinger buy, the Sheriff buy with Rooney, obviously. I think the teams are starting to understand what value they can get out of those low purchase rounds. And so, yeah, we got to keep that level of, listen, I know these rounds used to be really easy in the past, but people are getting better and better. We got to get better on those anti-ecos as well.
The fundamentals are one thing that has really improved for EG, but a guy who I think has been quite consistent, even when the squad is struggling, has been Ethan. He had a really strong performance last week. Can you talk a little bit about playing with him, BCJ?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan comes from a background of being on a competitive team for a long time. Comes from a different game, moving over to this game, instantly joined a competitive team. He has never been like the ranked guy, you know what I mean? The ranked no-commer. He is always the most vocal that I've played with so far on the team. Alongside that and Boostio's edge yelling, I think it just creates a great dynamic for the team. Having him and his leadership and his presence in the practice room and in the server is something that these guys can't talk about enough. So yeah, having him there, I mean, just look at these results. I mean, you could talk about consistency, but this guy, he's been doing it for a long time.
He's also the player who is, like you said, by far like the most experienced, adding that voice to the squad. Mel, for you, can you talk a little bit what it's like to be able to have a player like that? Because I know now with V1, you have a coach in Effie's who's been through a lot of the same experiences, making some of those first few international lands, just like Ethan did at Berlin.
Yeah, with Effie's, him making like the international at Iceland, we have like a lot more faith in like the system and trust in the things he tells us and the system that he has in place, knowing that he's been to that level, he knows what it takes. And for Ethan, I'm sure at EG, they think the same thing. They're like, this guy's been there, he's made it top 4 before at international, and seeing and having that mentorship can make a world of difference.
They really can, and I'm sure that he's adding that to this squad. But Mel, one thing that you wanted to break down was over on the Telestrator wall to talk about some of the good things that EG did just last week.
Yeah.
The Telestrator wall. I'm sorry for not using the technical term here.
Crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, so over here, by the Telestrator wall, super cute, super cool. I have round 7 from Pearl against their match versus Leviathan. And quick before I play the clip, we're gonna look at the ult economy for both teams. A lot of ults in play. This is where it kind of gets complicated when there's a lot of ult interactions. So for Leviathan, we have a Viper ult, the Sky Seekers, and we have the Harbor Reckoning. And for EG, we have the Jet Knives. We also have the Seekers and the Reckoning as well. So this is a really interesting round where a lot of ults come into play, and they usually tend to get complicated. So sometimes it's easier enough to just kind of go with the set play, something that you and your team has dry ran and drilled before. And we're gonna see EG walk and contact up mid here, and they're actually just going to use their ults to go into an A split through art. Actually, something really interesting here you want to notice is that Boostio has an operator because he was dropped it by Demon 1 so he could pop his knife. So just an interesting detail. The Sky Cabbages are going to pop so they can actually get him some easier way to get into A main later. But as you see, they're just contacting up mid, just looking for these early duels. You're going to see Leviathan actually, see if I can get a pen. You see Leviathan do this wall that they do as a reaction to when teams, when they get B main control with the operator. And now you're gonna see the play here. So immediately I'm gonna take a look at the radar here. So the Killer's in a pretty tough spot. I like the combo of the Reckoning and the Seekers because the Reckoning's gonna stun you if you sit in place, right? But if you wanna accurately break the Seekers, you're gonna have to shoot it and crouch, or not crouch, just stand in still. So you kinda have to back off because you can't stand still because the Hardboiled's gonna stun you, and you can't shoot the Seekers because the Hardboiled's gonna stun you, so you just need to get out of the sight. So he is gonna have to fall back here, and it's gonna give free space to get a sight, and you're gonna see a cove here and get a safe plant here for EG. So it puts them in a really nice spot for the post plant. Boostio as well, he's gonna scale up with the operator. And keep in mind here too, don't forget this detail, this this lurk on Calm is gonna be really important in the late round. So this is a really well thought out strat with the double ults, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they play their post plant. You're gonna see Leviathan pop a Viper ult in reaction to this, and it looks really chaotic from our POV, but that flash right there and this control of Secret that EG is taking is absolutely critical to this post plant. You're gonna see they left nobody in art. They know this is the post plant they want. And on this map, it's really, really strong post plant to hold that secret control because of how awkward it is for the defense. And keep in mind as well, Calm is now going for this lurk at the same timing as Mizzino is re-clearing art. So this is a great timing by Calm, but let's see how it plays out. Everything is in EG's favor here. They have every advantage. They have that strong secret control, so good understanding the map design. They have a great post plant, plant spot where it's planted open. They have that reflank, and it's a really interesting round seeing them actually take all the advantages that they're given by using these ults. You're gonna see it play out here. There's that lurk from Calm, perfectly played. The Seekers come out, but he still gets the kill. We're gonna see King gets a really nice 2K off of his own team Seekers. Judgment gets his 1. It comes down to the 2v2, and this is also great game planning by EG. The last 2 people alive are Boostio and Calm, which is 2 of the agents that have the mollies. So you're gonna see the Viper mollies get used. You're gonna see the Killjoy molly just went off. Boostio gets a pick with the operator, and then Mizzino's trying to half it. There's a Viper molly, or there's a Viper snakebite at his feet, and the round is cleaned up. And you can really see every little advantage EG could squeeze out of everything, going from art splitting off rip with the 2 ults, getting that secret control, getting that flank, and then lastly having those 2 molly post-plant characters alive in the clutch. Huge for EG. And honestly, a really good showing of the plans that they have, but unfortunately the round afterwards, they end up losing, and it's high ego, which will be discussed.
That's tough, but it was a really good job by them. And BCJ, one of the big improvements for EG has seemed to be in those late round situations in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it right there. I think the late round has been a big thing. Mainly post plants, I think, is something that you notice if you, at the end of each game, the team who usually wins more post plants usually wins the game. It's just generally how the game works right now. So if you can really get the bomb down a bunch of times, or the spike, you can really get those rounds converted.
Yeah.
Really, I think for us, post plants has been the biggest thing to really grow on. And I mean, if you got cringe post plants like that, you can't really lose.
Love to have a little bit of cringe in there. But for more on the preparation, some of those cringe strats that are coming out, we have an open mic listening in on the comms from EG in their game versus Leviathan.
Let me call what I want. Let me call what I want
Go,
this round.
Corbin.
Can you alarm bot cat boosty and just put your turret for pizza?
Cat trap.
Max and Ethan, go towards B early. Ethan, hold a flash for Max, and Max early peek B main. Just sit there and hold the whole round, okay? And then, Jaw, I need you just one way A main. If they push you up, that's all good. Just follow up.
Do you alarm by cat, right, Corbin?
Yep.
Give me audio here at this time.
No, no voy a ultiar popla porque tengo el tier igual.
Pero por eso la chanté en un lugar que no pueda pegarnos.
Cage your tile, cage your tile. He
Guy
might
being
something.
market, I think I saw. No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
They need molly for cat. They might walk up cat quick. Corbin, be ready to rip it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
might be meant to be. I think it's
Rip
meant
it,
to
rip
be.
it, rip it.
Yo, jardín.
Me pegó.
Kill KO. No ult, no ult.
Could walk through, Jaw.
I have mid B. You can walk through A.
Okay, I'm
play
leaning, I'm
retake.
leaning. I'll go drone out A.
Let's just play retake, okay?
Pisa, se
Va a
la
estar el
puede.
OP en B, probablemente.
Sí, gracias.
Búsquenle baranda, vayan a entrar baranda, ¿no? Probando baranda.
Tú tienes spot mercado, dentro del mercado.
Tiene baranda. 4-4, puedo juntarnos ahora. Juntémonos.
¿Tenéis drone?
Tenemos ulti de Guille, ¿eh?
Vamos a beta con ulti.
Puede estar al lado.
Sí, vamos, lo sacamos.
La sacamos con drone y la atacamos.
I'm just sitting here. Okay?
Just double hill, fuck
I
it.
can't.
Okay, that's fine.
I can be
I'm playing soft,
My
okay?
turret has your med.
Yeah.
Nothing B.
Getting in with you.
We're fully giving cat.
Can you jiggle door?
Trying to.
No lo vi.
Ah,
¿Está para derecha?
Yo creo que drone está acá nomás.
Sí, de ahí.
Cuidado que pica de tiempo, déjenme.
Déjame primero. Vamos, chicos.
Sí, pues no podemos pasar con mi ulti.
1, 2.
No pasar con mi ulti por el timer.
¿Por qué no?
Nothing. Two. Maybe.
30 seconds left.
More Ethan.
I see that.
One more Ethan.
Enemy remaining.
This guy.
Let's go, Ethan!
Hey! That's 30. Hey, let's go.
Those comms ever important for every team, and good in that one for EG. But let's move on to the opponent that they're facing off against, Sentinels. And while EG scored a major win last week, Sentinels took a pretty big loss against Cloud9. They really got rolled over in that game, BCJ.
Yeah, unfortunately, my GOAT, Zekin, did not have a great performance. But, I mean, it happens to the best of us, honestly. He's had to role swap. It's probably been a confusing time for him to really find his footing. But I'm more than confident now, being back to his old role, where, we used to play double duelist. I think now that's going to be big for him.
Yeah, and for Zekin in particular, it was a pretty rough game there, but it seemed like wider. It was the attacking sides that were struggling for the Sentinels team now.
And I do feel like a lot of it has come down to C9 just also having an incredible defense. Their defense has always been great, but honestly, seeing this look on Lotus with the Neon and how fast they are to rotate off of Zeppa's information gain is incredible to watch, and how dominant and also sometimes aggressive that they are. It kind of puts Sentinels in a really hard spot, and it's definitely really punishing if you're a team that has only really been scrimming a week and you're playing against one of the defensive best teams in the league.
And that's where my question comes up of how worried should we be against Sentinels? Because like you said, they are a really new team with the changes coming in super last minute. And they lost to one of the top squads in the league, Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Rory's leadership, I think he needs some more time with these guys. It seems like the disconnect on the attacking side will get fixed over time, but it's hard to say from, not being in the room, not being with those guys. But I could see them easily coming back, game planning those different maps, looking at Cloud9, saying, hey, we're getting pushed, arcade a lot of these rounds, like what are we going to do to counter it? Directly try to change that.
And Zekin here on your screen as well. This is a guy you were talking to a lot. That role swap has been solid for him, maybe struggling a little bit more, but it has opened up some of the other players on the team to play roles that they are more comfortable in now.
And I think it makes them more comfortable in terms of communications as well. And I can only speak from outside the team, but even just looking at the fact that Zekin is asking for people to break his util, give him util, puts them in a position where they're like, okay, I kind of get this game flow, I kind of get this game plan here where I can break your util, I can give you my util. And I feel like that puts them in a great spot as well.
It does, but the project is still early on, and this week is going to be very important for the Sentinel squad to keep those playoff chances good. But earlier, we spoke with Zekin about what it's like having to fill in the big shoes that Ten's left.
Being in Ten's role is hard, man. It's difficult, but it's enjoyable. I like doing it, and my teammates support me really well. It's a bit different to what I did before. I have to be a lot more aggressive and take more fights for the team. Being in this role helped me learn that I need to be a better communicator. I need to ask for my teammates' support more. It's definitely helped me to expand that part of my game.
You played with Zekin in the past, BCJ. He's talking about finding improvement in his comms in this new role. How do you feel like that's been for him, seeing as he was playing duelists at least some of the time when you were with him on XSET?
Yeah, definitely. And back then, you would play KO Sky as a duelist as well. So for him, he's always been the mature young player. I think that's something that's always stuck out to me. When bringing him and Cryo on both respectively, they had to work on that trait specifically. Getting their voice, finding their voice is really what it is. I think he found his voice on XSET very well. He kind of slotted in really nicely. But taking over a main duel spot, primarily opping as well on Jet, that's something completely different that he might not have been as used to as, maybe playing the rifle duelist role, which he was more comfortable with in the past.
And while he doesn't have quite as much age, quite as much experience at the international level, a guy who really, really does has been Marv, who came into this roster as a substitute initially and now a full-time player for the rest of their run. Even when they've struggled now, he's looked incredible.
I think if you watch that first Sentinels game he subbed in, it is honestly a controller masterclass. I can speak for myself. I was watching those VODs intently. I was watching those games live, and it's incredible what he can do and the impact that he can have on controller. Of all roles, controller, he is always showing up. But I think one thing is that his lurks have been big, and I think Cloud9 really keyed into that because they were not letting him get any value from his lurks on maps like Lotus.
For a very prepared team like EG, though, do you think it's somewhat exploitable, BCJ? Because a lot of the lurks he goes for are quite risky.
Yeah, this is going to be the test of time for this game. How active can he be on the lurk? What's it going to be like where he's on his, island, so to speak? I think he has more than enough possibility to do it. He's done it against the best teams in the world, so why can't he do it now? But that's going to be the focus for EG. How do we stop the Iceman?
They're going to have to try and shut him down because he has been on an incredible run thus far. But we're just a few minutes from getting this one underway. So I wanted to ask you guys about your predictions. We've put together some art, maybe rivaling what Toast built up a little bit earlier. Mel, you want to start?
Oh, should I start with my art?
Yeah, please, I'd love to see it. I'm sure it's fantastic.
All right, don't get your hopes up.
Okay.
I have Sen taking it. I have a little
the little faces there, very additive.
You know, those are the fans. Woo! Sen City.
What's your reasoning for going for Sentinels in this one? Because to me, this seems like a pretty close match.
Yeah, I think earlier what I brought up about EG taking that win versus Leviathan was incredibly impressive, but at the same time, Leviathan is a protocol-heavy team, and EG came in with what it appears to be good game plan and good prep going into it. Meanwhile, Sentinels seems like a team that's almost the polar opposite of that, where it's like they play pretty on the fly, and they have 3 world-class players or 3 people that have won at a Champions or at an international event that are able to do those things so on the fly, so it'll be a really hard test for them.
I'm on the same page with you. I think despite a rough game last week, there's a lot to learn from that one, and you just can't doubt these players. But I have a feeling that, BCJ, you're going to give us a different perspective on this.
Yeah, going the completely different route. Not trying to get fired here or anything, but we're living evil, baby. Look at that artistic drawing right there. We got the hashtag Live Evil. That's I'm hoping to see a ton of that on Twitter today. But yeah, no, I'm believing in the guys. I think that they're really making that push for playoffs, and I think everyone's kind of hitting their peak form, especially on their new roles. So I'm excited to see them today.
What do you think is the biggest thing that EG need to focus on to win this one out?
Man, I talked about the post plants, the anti-ecos, but yeah, all those combine into being the fundamentals. I think if EG works in the fundamentals, they have a solid chance to beat these guys. I think any player on EG can have a pop-off moment. I've said that in the past, but I truly believe it. You can see pick any player and any round and any moment, any role. Any of them could pop off, and you're looking for that today. You need multiple pop-off moments. You need it from your big star players, and this is the time.
Mel, it's the same case for Sentinels, though. I mean, that's everything we talk about with this squad, the pop-offs, the individual performance.
And I think for Sentinels as well, some of their fundamentals kind of slid away or slipped away last week, so it'll definitely be a battle of the fundamentals for this one.
It's going to be a big game for both of these squads. And really, I think it's also one that's going to be super important to keep the mentals in check, to keep focus, because both these squads are still in a position where playoffs are possible. And it is going to be a very important game for EG in particular. This is a squad that has so many doubters. They found their first big upset last week against Leviathan. They have that momentum behind them. But for Sentinels as well, bringing in this new player, despite a tough loss, this is a squad you can always rely on to make some improvements, to learn from their losses and come out stronger. It's big implications for both of these squads. It is a game that matters very much for both. And Week 6 of VCT Americas is getting started just on the other side. Evil Geniuses and Sentinels ready to take the stage.
This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't. Olha esse cara vem, faz duplo abate. Vamos, Portão! Se acaba tempo e leva!
MIBR, I think they have very good individual players. I think JZZ and Heat are playing very, very well.
There's Marv with it, but he's not good for much more. As Heat's just destroying them.
Próximo jogo significa bastante pra gente. A gente sabe que não tem margem para erro mais. Eu esperava sim uma performance boa da Cloud9. Eles têm ótimos jogadores, o Leaf se destacando bastante.
Flash in the face, everyone's blind! Well, another bait, holding the ground, Celsius swing, no way! Let's go!
Evil Geniuses, us both being teams that have changed players, giving new looks is something that's important to both of our teams, so kind of just expecting the unexpected.
Oh my gosh!
He's going for the flank.
Taka's done. It's just on to... Oh, the head! Remember, he still only has a stinger. He's got it down to a 1v1. Oh, the weapon's not great, but the timing is!
Yeah, we're definitely underdogs. I mean, Sentinels has a huge fan base. They're an overall cohesive team.
And they're just swinging right into Sentinels' crosshairs. Oh, that's as clean as it gets, man.
The last time I played Sentinels, we won. It was an older roster, but hey, still beat the org, so I'm ready to play again.
Nobody's clearing it, though. It's halfway, these are Calm. Calm gets the kill in the clutch.
The Kings of Clout taking on NA's biggest underdog in EG versus Sentinels. Both these teams have playoff hopes on the line and an important game in this one. So I'm sure, VCJ, the huddles, the discussion ahead of this matchup are going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, always getting the guys hyped and ready to go is, you know, what you're looking for here. But from both sides, I'm expecting big-time things from Kaplan and Potter here. I think you need to... Hey, look at that. Shout out to my mom right there. That's my mom. Shout out to the gang pulling up for today. CC's been in town as well. Big shout out to the gang. But yeah, no, really big moment for EG here. I think they need to really lock in. Likewise for Sentinels. This is a chance for Marv and the rest of the guys, Zekin, to prove that they can compete at this tier 1 level, and they are the best in their role.
I mean, coming off of that loss last week especially, they definitely need this. I think they're feeling confident going into it. I don't think the professionals are not going to let last week get to them, but like you said earlier, it's really going to be big on the fundamentals here. I would say more on it's less on the prep really, and just more on how they're going to play in the server just against their opponent in front of them.
What do you think the prep is like against a team like Sentinels? Because as we talked about, EG is normally very prep heavy. They play well against the structured squads. It's kind of hard to know what to expect with this new Sentinels roster.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sentinels, you look at the calling style of Def and what he's done in the last year even. You look at the slow defaulty rounds. You look at the lurk from Marv. You look at the slow pace, let's take A main, let's take B main, let's work back to the multi-stage fakes. This is what they love to do.
Well, let's talk about the map vetoes in this one. Mel, diving into it, we obviously have Bind in the pool now for the second week. Where do you expect these teams to head?
Oh, actually, EG banning Haven. I thought they were going to ban Bind, so I thought they were going to leave it open. I'm honestly expecting Pearl as a map 1 here for one of these teams to pick. And then Sentinels, yeah, they've been banning splits since Marv has come in. That is characteristic. So I'm expecting EG to pick up Pearl here. Honestly, I think that they're going with a Fracture. Honestly, interesting target pick against Sentinels, who didn't look too hot on Fracture last week.
Yeah, and Sentinels starting on attack. I mean, that's a really pacey map. There's the Pearl you were expecting, although it's Sentinels who decided to take that. I mean, they looked pretty good on it last week with Marv. I think that Marv in that Viper role is really, he's finding his footing.
both those maps seem pretty strong for EG. Their Fracture's good with that interesting Sova composition. Their Pearl's been solid as well. This seems pretty favorable, Mel.
And then we see the ban in the second phase from EG on Vines, and then from Lotus. I think we're going to see interesting map here for Thursday. It's going to be Ascent or Haven up to EG here. Yeah, I think the Pearl's going to be really interesting. I think it's really going to come down to who can win that map. I think if it's like, obviously, if it's going to be EG up, they're going to get the 2-0 if they're willing to go 2 on Pearl. But I think it's going to be interesting because Sentinels blew out Loud on that map, and then Loud blew out EG 13-0. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting to see what game plan adjustments that EG's made.
You guys are all talking about the fundamentals a lot, and the Heineken 0.0 Ascent, that final one, that's what it's all about. But let's focus our sights on the first map in this series, in Fracture. Like I mentioned, it's this interesting Sova composition for EG. Sen has been switching to the single duelist with Zekin. Do you expect changes from either of these teams, VCJ?
I don't expect major changes, especially with the players that we are looking at here. I think this is a map that is really protocol heavy. You build these set plays. That's what you want to be looking for, so they can't really change much.
I think Sentinels as well, I think the first time they played with Marb, they actually hadn't played it at all in scrims the one time they won it. But now it's going to be interesting to see. Now they have had 1-2 weeks of practice on the map, what they're going to go with.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take a look at Sentinels, actually, they are picking up the Sky over the Fade. I mean, that was a big part of their last comp, was to play the post plan, play the anti-bomb with the Tether Nade. Now having Sky in the mix, it's going to help you on attack, but you're going to miss that on defense.
What are Sentinels looking to improve here? Because it was their attack side that struggled so much last week, Mel.
I think the Sky actually brings a lot on the attack. If there's like util, it kind of baits out the alarm bot and things like that. And I think Saucy's incredible on the flash flex as well. I think he looks really good on Pro with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he were to take over this game, honestly.
Well, we will see if those improvements are enough. It's map number 1 here for EG versus Sentinels. Let's send it over to your two casters. Van Sillington III on the call.
Well, you know, it's not GB, it's still me, but we still have the fun names coming in together. Indeed, we do have a great series in our hands. The clock is ticking here, Riv, for both of these teams, for EG and also for Sentinels. And, you know, there are also two teams that in here, in the right arena, that have always had great games against their opponents, but unfortunately always fell short, right? Into a map series, into close games. But at least now, two teams that are very tactical. One of them will be coming out the victor to get closer to the goal of reaching those playoffs.
Right, both 2-4 right now. Not much time left to secure these games that are absolutely necessary. EG still yet to beat a North American team here in the Valorant Americas. We'll see what they can do. I mean, you look at their stats, Van Silly. Their last 3 games, Leviathan, Loud, Furia. They only lost those games, those two, Loud and Furia, by 3 rounds at most. They do not look like an 8th place team currently. We'll see if they can show that power here again today. And Sentinels looking to do the same. Ever since the Marv change, they've looked a little bit stronger, a little more solid now that they can focus these roles.
And doing the same is working things off towards the B side here on Fracture. This time around, a change from the initiator. No Saucy here on the Fade going into the Sky. Less pressure into our arcades. But for EG, you still see these players. 4 players stacked up on the side before, and now looking to pressure towards that angle. It's a wrong read to start, but all the Sentinels are backing out here towards the A site where there's only comp lane.
Doing a good job at watching the flank, though. EG taking north side. It looks like they're going to just play full retake on this. They have the utility for it. Ethan waiting for the fault line to come back up, I think, before they do anything. His site is taken, easy clear. We'll see how the Sentinels pushes his post plant. If they layer forward and try to scale into site or just take a main control. It's actually a safer plant. No, out in the open. EG hears where the plant's coming from and spam through smoke.
And the smoke's about to dissipate here into the site. Marv only had 1 into the round, so it's not going to block off towards the drop. So EG are flooding into the site now. Spike falls down one more time. As now we have a 5 versus 2. One of them is going to go onto that defuse, at least at halfway. The other 2 players, the Sentinels behind that smoke, nothing that he could do. EG gets a clean retake and a pistol round coming in.
Second best pistol round win percentage in Valorant Americas. Evil Genius is showing why right there. Playing the map, understanding that it was going to be pinched towards A, and as soon as they get a kill on that spike plant, they go into this trap play EG that we've been seeing much more of, able to work right into protocol and get their opponents when they're feeling the safest. While Sentinels was not safe in that site, EG grabbed pistol, and we will see a Bulldog just for Demon. Looked like Calm wanted to think about it. He does. He actually dips right into that Bulldog, so they're reassuring a little more strength, knowing Sentinels will take their time here and try and pull all the util out and positioning to see if they can get this first blood onto EG for second round.
Taking their time is definitely going to be the name of the game for both of these players. You heard VCJ on the desk. talking about how these two teams are protocol heavy, looking to find that information first before they could actually react, before they want to take a site. But it's EG looking to press first. 2 players moving forward here towards the south side of the map. Graded by Pankata, but easily dropped as EG pulls ahead. 1 player advantage. The rest of Sentinels looking for a time to get back into the site, looking to sell a fake towards B to start things off. As that Zekna's just spotted one onto the rope. That's Ethan just repelling away and looking for the backup.
You have to be worried about A main controls here. I think that's their biggest worry. This could be big coming in here from Jogamo and Ethan. If they can get that fault line correctly and the rest of them flood into sight just like pistol round.
There's just too much ability here for Sentinels to stay inside this site. That was so clean. From a recon bolting to bottom of the site, combined with an aftershock from A main, Sentinels had no exit out of the map.
Wow. Just patient. It doesn't even look like EG's sweating there. Obviously, they know they have the gun diff, but the way they're executing, looking flawless right now, and Sentinels is really going to have to bring it onto their bonus round for Evil Geniuses. We'll see what Saucy decides to purchase. If she goes Phantom or Vandal, I think they're thinking out the strat right now. Splitting it 3 top side, 2 to that south side. This is a little bit of what they just ran for the side of Sentinels, so they'll keep it. Spikes down for now, so this looks again to be another round where they'll draw utility and possibly find out where Boostio is. Figure out where this Killjoy utility is and how to avoid that on some rounds. What a push towards Halls here, though, from the side of Evil Geniuses.
Yep. Bonus round for EG. What a pinch towards the south side again. 2 players out there. Marv being pinged by the Aldrone, and Boostio gets the kill. All of them get dropped. Trying to hold the pinch off for a bit, but it opens up the B site for Sentinels to move in from Arcane. Juggernaut spotting one. That's Def with the flash, falling back to support Saucy. Spike on his back too. But look at this. Zekin actually made it through here towards the spawn, looking to catch some players off the rotate. The pointy elbow of Boostio, the jump spot as they both swing. But it's still Zekin that's going to hold him back as we get the spike plant into B.
Demon One with a quick cleanup. This push through A. Halls continues all the way to B to start recovering that ground and making sure this defuse is possible. Def doing his damnedest now to get this back.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to stick the spike one more time. Yes, this is just going to be a common courtesy. Even Zekin doesn't get a kill out of that one. Def, will you save your weapon? You will at least. That's the silver lining for Sentinels into that round, but the game plan there are trying to get more map control, more space. Always blocked off by a smoke drop down by Demon One and a full defuse, at least so far into this game. Sentinels has to figure out now how they could actually drop Demon One, prevent these smokes from actually being useful for the retakes for EG.
In the beginning of that round, it looked like Sentinels was set up for pushes to come from everywhere, right? Marv was looking at that drone. It's just he didn't expect 3 people from EG to swing out of A main. That's some pacing by Evil Geniuses. We know both of these teams to play the rounds quite long before they're ever seeing their opponents. Really touch and go, push and pull on each side on the extremities before we see that full action and take. Another round where the spike is down. EG has already gained a bit of Hall's control here. Getting Sentinels to sweat a little bit just to gain their first bit of territory that should almost be yours at the beginning of the round. So again, pulling out that util ever so little as Sentinels scale up here.
It's just a jiggle from Jogimo activating the fault line. Out on the defensive side from EG, holding them back a little bit more. 1 minute left on the clock. All the Sentinels grouped up together on a quasi-buy that they want to buy around the rifle that was saved by Def. The Trailblazer now, the difference that you see, the Initiator trying to clear a little bit more deeply into the site, seeing that at least Sands is clear for EG. EG looking to play a retake one more time.
It's been so solid for him.
Whoa. Nice little clothesline there from Ethan through the smoke. Beauty of the Phantoms. No matter what, those Sentinels still make it inside the A site. Tap onto the spike to try to flush out that util. Even flushing out the defenders further back. Now the Showstopper comes out too in a Rolling Thunder on the attack. Jogimo's the one with the Showstopper, trying to push back towards the A main. He connects off the wall onto Def. As Mars stays inside the site for 2 kills with the Guardian though. A 2 versus 2. Big flash coming across. Demon gets the first. The trade off from Saucy at 1 versus 1. Sticking off this spike. Gets off it, but Ethan still gets the kill. So close. As Saucy just saw him at the last second, but just couldn't get the kill. And EG converts another round.
Ethan, what a quiet season he's had up until last week.
Last week, yeah.
Up until last week. Everybody remembering the Yoru game since lock-in, but where's that been? Where has this fire been from Ethan? Really, it's just been the comms in the background, but now the firepower is coming forward, and we're seeing that veteran status on the field. 5th round now coming out. EG dominating the first kills right now. All of them in favor of Evil Geniuses, dominating the game, controlling Sentinels to start on Fracture. And here they'll get some more A main control and down B to get that control as well. Sentinels feel suffocated right at the beginning of these rounds.
First stop for the round. First stop for the match. In the hands of Busio, just locking down towards tree. And Sentinels, you know, it's a default, slowing things down both extremities here, top and bottom. EG have been rather aggressive in trying to get that information when they're in their bonus rounds. And look at that gap continuing to close. Busio winning right now. Looking for the timing peak. It's good for 1.
Spike down. Attacker spawn.
Do they retrieve this? Do they keep going? The Boombot W. It looks like they're right into the site. EG's gonna have to play retake as Zekin gets another.
It's nice pushing by Sentinels, especially when you lost Marv early into the round. No smokes to cover any of Canteen or Spawn. But now you hear the rotation coming out from EG. The round has been flipped basically into the map. The post planners are playing towards the defender Spawn, as now we have an orbital strike on the defender side. Joggingmilk inching into the site. First one to lead the charge. Spike is planted out in the open for the sprays. 3 smokes from Canteen and Spawn. Ethan once again looking to fight back. Another smoke coming down from Demon 1. The first kill coming in as they're starting into this fuse. Ethan is trying to put it onto the halfway mark and will still once again stick it all the way.
Ooh.
That hurts. That hurts.
Evil Genius is playing that perfectly, recognizing where it was planted. Canteen wasn't a worry. They keep pushing Spawn. Canteen had to make such a distance to get to that spike play because it's planted a little deeper for the angle. So EG focuses Spawn. They focus pushing back Sentinels, who scaled in. It looked so good. They take site. They take pressure. But it was B main. It was the reflank coming in from Evil Geniuses to be able to lock in that round. Starting off on a tear right now. Demon 1, 8-1-2. Absolutely incredible what he's been able to produce for the team as well, going from Jet to controller and not missing a beat.
Well, at least somebody that's not missing a beat yet definitely is going to be EG at this point, as Sentinels calling out this timeout. Big important one here being called by Kaplan, where yes, they're able to get into the sites, but EG really just wants to give that away to them, Riv. It's okay for Sentinels to move into the spike plans.
Absolutely.
And the flood retakes. That's one of the problems here that Sentinels has faced playing last week against Cloud9 even. Into those moments when you're trying to set up into the post plans, things stuck inside the site, they were flooded by C9. This time you're playing outside. You're able to push into your opponent's positions, but you're still losing.
They play a little bit of that retake game that EG was playing just a few weeks ago. It's just flip-flop between the strategies. Sentinels here do have a stinger onto Zekin. Shouldn't be too bad because he's going to have the showstopper this round. We'll see what they can produce with this power. They're going for the regular 1-4. It actually looks like... Is Pancata going to come back? Okay, he's just chilling by the rope to start.
Yeah.
So again, slow round. Let EG use this initial utility. Sentinels will drain that clock down to 1 before they really even execute here. And it's actually a very, very passive play by Evil Geniuses. They're expecting to get this showstopper into the site. Nobody's tower, nobody's B, and you see towards sand now for Demon 1. So they're gonna let Sentinels get up pretty as far as they can, and maybe just play this off of contact all around the board, honestly.
Definitely another protocol for Sentinels. Trying to see if there's gonna be any push towards the north side, and with that minute mark, it's avoiding this Allen Drone 2 might be the call finally to start probing towards something. It's going to be towards this B site. Pancata also inching towards Arcade as the rest of Sentinels are looking to execute here towards this B site. You mentioned that showstopper, and it's stopped by Jogging, but release the trade comes out. Sprays once again through the smoke. Ethan gets 2. Now it's up to Death and Pancata. At least we get the plant down. You have to stay inside the site this time around. Smokes dissipate. No balls coming through, and unfortunately there for Death. Meets his demise. It's up to Pancata.
All right, Pancata.
Gets the first one at least. 3 versus 1 remaining. Molly on to the spike to delay even more. Now spots 2 more as Comes down to those protocols of EG. The ping pong, the left and right. The tap onto the spike, but another delay.
Great
and
delay.
Also on the kill, he also has the lockdown, but decided not to use it at the beginning. Now with this recon,
tough.
You know the demise.
Did what he could.
A full stick.
Saves that weapon, but that shows you how. Oh my God, no!
The caster curse from Riv.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Ethan. That's all Ethan right now. Don't take this man's credit. What a game from him. Honestly, just a thorn in the side there and a nail in the coffin to end it. Ethan, that's the third, maybe fourth spray through smoke here. Phantom supremacy coming from a lot of the Valorant Americas players recently, as we're seeing Pearl and Fracture become smoke fests. But yeah, Sentinels just cannot find an answer. They saved that weapon. They are still able to buy on this round with a few pivotal ultimates. You mentioned Penkata having that lockdown, but can they get close enough with members up Vansili? They just seem to be getting torn apart or taking a lot of chip damage before they're finding the sites, making the post plan even harder. Evil Genius is now 6-0.
He's trying to get that pick into Sands. Elise is able to hold that angle for two teammates to fall back.
Orbital strike out.
That's coming out from the attack from Sentinels. Now we have an open A site for Sentinels to plant for long.
Rolling Thunder up.
Double lockdown. That's going to slow things up a little bit more. It looks like we do want to press forward. Wow. Thunder comes out for the defense. Marcus staying inside the site, gets dropped by Jogimo here. Lockdown doesn't hit anybody from both sides, but it's still EG across the board getting all of these kills. Only one traded back by Sentinel so far. Another opportunity to stick the plant. Second staying inside of this smoke, trying to get the spray, but it's still going to be the body block from Bucio to allow the defuse to come in for EG. And I mean, it feels like I'm just a song being held on loop. It's diffuse through smokes and diffuse after diffuse here for EG.
Oh my gosh. And then the aggression into A main there as well, knowing the numbers, knowing the pressure, and being the body block, like you said, to help out that defuse. So many things going right for EG right now, and as we heard, it's in the beginning of this, I'll talk about that later, round's about to start. Push towards A main probably once again here, coming from the side of Evil Geniuses. Arcade has the spike for Sentinels. We're watching that side of the map now. Ethan just wants the fault line. Oh, dry off the bat.
Got the ping there off the recon dart before. The third pulse to come out doesn't ping anybody, but Seconds already moving inside the side, close range. Showstopper onto the ground. Another attacker falls for Sentinels. As now with the smoke in the front, you can't do anything for the last two players to try to get in the B site for Asasi and Penkata. The two Brazilians trying to work together, but on opposite sides of the B site. Sasi looking for the duel, spotted. Just on the top over here by Jogimo. And then greeted by Demon. There's just no opportunities now for Sentinels to really try to find any opening towards this B site. No lurk kills. No ways to turn around back in the favor of the attack side. And with the spike being down, this is going to be potentially Penkata saving the weapon.
Evil Geniuses, they have an amazing read on this. And if it's not even the read on the play, it is the personal play in that action. As we just saw, Jogimo towards tower
30
there.
seconds left.
The rest of the map, Ethan with multi-kills on these rounds. Sentinels not having an answer is actually just EG playing so damn well right now. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. And we heard in the beginning of this, I was saying before, these are two of the 4 teams in Americas right now that have made changes this split. And pretty deep into it, honestly. I mean, Demon 1 has been there quite longer than we expect, I should say, actually, to correct myself. But it just seems like EG has refined how this works. Penkata goes down. And Sentinels is still ebb and flow between these. Wow, they're back, and where'd they go? You know, so it just seems like that is definitely becoming a factor here. Sentinels finding that identity, being able to get everybody on the same page for each game, and yeah, EG is just over that hill and still climbing.
It's pretty much red alert right now for Sentinels.
Yep.
Another timeout being called, the last one going into the map. Trying to find ways to salvage the last few rounds here of their attack. Latest head coach right now, Kaplan, trying to figure things out, and maybe indication that they might be a little bit more comfortable on the defensive half. Maybe that's why you want to burn out these 2 timeouts right now, and at least we're hoping that if we're on the side here of the Sentinels fan side. And Potter has less to say. Everything's been looking pretty good for EG so far.
Smiles. I mean, usually we get like the Potter reacts, but I think it's too good right now. He's just smiling the whole time. And she must be happy as well, getting this team figured out the way that it will work against each team week to week, different play styles, and finding that flow. Seems like Calm on that. Asova has just been nailing it recently. Ethan coming back into form a little bit, and Demon One being able to slot in is something. I mean, like, you say that's something you could always ask for, but Cloud9 did it with 2 players. It's like, what's going on here? What are we missing? What are they doing so well across the board? Well, right now, they're showing us with an 8-0 on Fracture. This is the Evil Geniuses map pick. So they're picking it for a good reason. We ultimate here for Demon One to start off this next round. Sentinels on a Stinger and Vandal buy as we have that Vandal. On Pankata having a bit of money. They're quite far away from ultimates too. They could try to focus that Seekers, get themselves something for a further round. And it actually does not go to Seekers. Somebody else grabbed the orb. I think it's Def.
Now moving into the site, Zekin makes it towards the top. Another retake game now for EG. So Recon Dart came in, that got the ping, allowing Ethan to get the spray kill onto Zekin, and unfortunately, we still haven't made it into the site for our plat.
Spike spawn.
Lucio's pushing through. Yeah, I mean, you're going through spawn once again to try to fight, catch players off rotates, and you're just getting greeted by just EG one step ahead every single time. And it sort of repeats itself. Pankata, last player standing, Spike already down, where he cannot reach it. No opportunities for him to go for any heroic plays. With 44 seconds left, you already see it. Another attempt to save, and that opens up the whole map for just Jogimo to marathon and jog across everywhere to build up into the showstopper.
30 seconds left.
There's a good plan. Saucy had the spike, so it was plant spike, had Seekers, but I also think it was like Def get an orb or whoever else grabbed it and then get a kill for your all. They could have had Seekers right off that ramp grab and gotten into sight. EG is not toying around right now. Everything is needed to get into these sites. The peaks are not working. The util has to be there first, and Evil Geniuses pick up a 9th round here in the first half. Van Silly, I think they took that 13-0 and were like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay, let's try to put that into action.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. More from Calm. Figuring out that corner was held. That was a spike again. And not that Saucy made a wrong move with the spike there, but they didn't have sight clear. They needed to try and pick up a weapon or drop one. So that was the option. That's where the team was going. You could see everybody on the same page, but yeah, still not working as EG was one step ahead. A little bit of love towards B here for all the Sentinels. We just had that A hit from Satellite. Now towards B, they're sticking together in a lot of their strats.
You want to go with what's obvious, right?
Yep.
3 ultimates available, going into default. Lock down and clear out the B site. But look at EG. Okay, nice pain shell kills at least off the Jogimo. EG already pushing all the way out here for a triple flank on the top of B. On their own retake, they have the orbital strike available from Demon One, so if Sentinels are all staying inside the site, this orbital strike could do a lot of damage.
That's exactly right. I think that's I like why Sentinel's now moving out. We have Arcade cover here. A stairs take coming in though from EG. Let's see if they can get this one down, or Sentinels grab their first round.
Aftershock with the first kill onto Death. You have the lurk coming back from Zekin at the underpass. Orbital strike coming into B, but Sentinels are finally holding it into the map.
There it is. There it is. Get the tourniquet. Stop the bleeding. Looks like Sentinels get themselves a round. And a pretty good one at that, keeping quite a few up. Able to build a little bit of economy right now. They have quite a bit of ways to go. Looking at EG's economy, they have been able to kill the EG members throughout these rounds that they are losing. So it doesn't look like too big of a hill to climb. But there is still quite a bit of econ to break through here. I don't know if they're going to do it before the second half. 2 more rounds here. Sentinels tasting a little bit of the W. And we'll see if they can get this round 11 in their favor as well. Split once again across the map. A lot less pushing from Evil Geniuses than the early rounds here. So I think they're giving Sentinels a little more room.
Well, there is at least pushing here towards the A side.
Oh dear.
Second satcheling into the B side. 1v1 against Busio. Drops and turns around. But it's still the advantage for Sentinels. Nice trade coming out from Pankata. Supporting the rest of their team this time around on the split into the A site.
Placing swarm grenade.
Good defense set up already. They don't have to deal with too many ultimates here unless Jogimo goes crazy. Nope.
Not gonna
happen. Sir.
Jogimo now getting stopped. with the rocket in hand.
Yep.
Greeted by Pankata, and that's going to be the last two players admitting defeat into this round. EG falling back into the save. Sentinels able to string 2 rounds in a row now. So you talked about the tourniquet, they're now limping.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can walk soon before we switch into the half. At least we're seeing some good things for Sentinels on how they executed into that B site.
And it does seem like Sentinels are ironing out the kinks, right? To think about it, this is actually the 3rd composition
Last
Sentinels
round
has
in the
brought
half.
to Fracture. We had week 1 versus 100 Thieves. They played the double duelist. Then we saw them bring the Fade, double initiator comp in. And now we get Sky for Asasi here. So another change. So 3 comps throughout the times they played Fracture already. So getting that smoothed out takes time. Really tough. EG is kind of knocking on that door right now and letting Sentinels know this is not one of the refined comps for them. Last 2 rounds, though, may show us different. Set up on B now here for Boostio. That's a lot of Killjoy utility to stop and delay plant as a faster towards Satellite from Sentinels.
Very nice flashes to open it up. Sasi gets the first blood into Dish. Weaken EG holding back towards the A site as they had to fight into the last round with small shields. Calm looking to greet the players moving in, but it was actually Pankata moving up from Sands to not allow any of the players from Sentinels to drop. So if a 5 versus 2, things are looking really good now to put 3 in a row for Sentinels, and that's how you want to finish the half. Boostio moving up, looking for the flawless, but it's not going to happen, but at least the victory should be coming in. Orbital strike to even run the clock down as Bar save it from that previous round. And with that, Zekin gets the final kill. And we do have what could potentially be a blessing for Sentinels now, because we have a 9-3 half.
The last few rounds are necessary to create that cushion, to take off the pressure of the pistol round. Like we said, EG 2nd best pistol round win percentage here, so they're going to come out swinging.
All right, well, let's set it over to the floor. We actually have Dan Dryad talking with BCJ's family.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm over here with Deanne and Brent. And like you said, family from BCJ and his mom and uncle. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, we heard that you guys are not from here. Where are you flying from?
We came in from Michigan. We live near Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. And how has been all that support when it comes to even flying here to support BCJ? We saw him on the desk, and he's a big personality. We love seeing him every time. He's always bringing something to the Valorant scene. So tell me a little bit more about what is like kind of having that full support, supporting him in different ways from online to all the way here.
Oh my gosh, we've always supported Brendan.
Yeah.
I saw he was getting into gaming when he's like 14, and he said he made like the top 500 of Overwatch. And I'm like, in the world? I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, that's amazing. And then he got into Apex and started, we supported him 100% right from the start. So fun watching him play.
And you, Brent, as an uncle, is that kind of a different perspective as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, we are super interested in all of his games, and we watch all the games.
They watch parties.
Yeah,
yeah, we have watch parties. But it's super important, I think, to have that family background to support the players.
Is it hard for you guys to keep up with everything that he's doing? You know, like all the matches that you have to follow, him being on the desk, or is it just...
It's not hard at all. We watch every single one. I'm super interested. I follow everything on social media. I'm not big into like replying and saying things, but I see absolutely everything. I see every video, every game, everything.
Okay, and last one real quick. Give me predictions for this matchup. Is it going to be 2-0 for EG?
Well, we don't like to see the 9-3 curse, but...
Okay, is here.
We have family buff here today. His sister and his other uncle are also here, so family buff is big for the team.
We gotta see how it goes. We're gonna send it to the second half and to the casters. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan Dryad. And yes, indeed, they do have the family buff for today,
Yeah, they
BCJ
do.
and EG. Whew. As they had the lead 9-3, but it definitely shows now that from BCJ's uncle there, they do follow esports, they do follow Valorant. They see this scoreline at 9-3 and...
Yeah, they know the curse. They know it is true. It looms over this game as we speak. And now as we hop into Fracture, EG on the attack side. Sentinels defending. Looks like they go for a 4-1, so it may just be a bailout here for Pankata if that site gets hit quick. Already playing towards spawn, so retake B for Sen. EG all towards A.
Exactly.
All towards A. It's just going to be Boostio hanging back to keep that turret alive for now. Oh, we may get a little action to start here.
Yeah, because even on Sentinel's side, it's 4 players on the A side. The recon are pinged out a few. So a small stalemate, but we're still looking to move forward and fight for Sentinels. Aftershock pushing back EG. Now crossfire set up for Sentinels at the AOR. Joggermo's out to satchel in, and there's that crossfire, but he still gets the opener. And Dev somehow comes in with 3 kills with the Frenzy. And Sentinels extra back in their own pistol on defense.
Oh my god. Read like a book on that one. It's like a breather at the halftime. Oh my gosh, yeah, Frenzy supremacy on that one, if you will. Very nicely done, and a much needed round for Sentinels here, to be honest. This could have gone very bad if Evil Geniuses picked up their first. They took first and their bonus last half. Yeah, they're feeling it. So Sentinels here need almost get their bonus. Push towards Satellite, and Sonar Bolt already out. So I think Sentinels can figure out where this play might be going to start off, as they just start distributing eco back and forth here.
And that's the beauty of Saucy going into that sky.
Right.
Flash down towards Dish. Blinded some players. Knows there's at least 1 player out there, and then they go for the Trailblazer out towards the bottom A site. That allows for Sentinels to push forward. Ustio just waiting for a peek behind that turret, but it's not even needed. Zekin spotted him, drops him with the Stinger. That opens up the A site for EG to move in. Saucy now being cornered by a combo, but still makes it out alive here. Plant comes down for EG. Rotation back from Sentinels, and a lot of pressure coming in towards the A-Hall. Zekin hiding just behind of the smoke. As soon as it dissipates, it's going to be a surprise for Joggin.
Saucy! One enemy remaining.
He does get the kill up to Zekin, but gets traded off by Death. And that's it. At least we get the plant down for EG, but Sentinels still another clean round.
That was wild. Nice job. Good calls. Way to recontrol on that A main and make make Sentinels come to, make EG come to you. Figure out that positioning. You see Saucy, you're pushing back in. They both come back towards that sand area.
One enemy remaining.
And EG just cannot gain control. It's like you have the sight, but it doesn't feel good if you haven't taken anybody out or know where they are. It is just dangerous to plan. 9-5 now, Sentinels. This is the big round. This bonus.
Right there.
If they can shut down Evil Geniuses here, no saves, no nothing. That puts Sentinels in a very good position. Penkata as well, having a much better week now to start off than last week. So it's great to see him back on form as well for the team.
Blinded.
So combination for EG to gain dish control. Recon Dart with the satchels. Free orb now for Jogimo. Both initiators once again on the A side for Sentinels. As a fault line came out from Death towards the bottom side. Now Sentinels looking for the flank.
Oh my
just
God!
Ethan waiting there. 1 by 1, easy kills. Even adding the confidence with the drive-by there. Making sure that his opponent's down. And this is going to make it tough for the last 2 players of Sentinels. You talked about a big round here, Riv. A bonus round for Sentinels. So you're hoping to get something out of that, but unfortunately it's a flawless for EG instead.
Yeah. The flawless was definitely the exact opposite of the round we were thinking here. Solo, too. I think only one of those was even in the eyes of Calm because the swing was so wide.
Yep.
Coming out from Zekin there, but yeah, not much else than Ethan being Ethan on that. 15-5 on the breach this game. Rolling Thunder ready now after that bonus round. And now Sentinel's gonna have to figure out how they want to retake or push this map, right? Do you want to push when you're down, when you need your econ? You don't have as much freedom to try and take a main control as much.
Okay. It's a Rolling Thunder for the rest of pinch out from drop. Zekin did get tagged for a bit from that Rolling Thunder, and it's a fast execution for EG into the A site. Flash, retaliate by Sentinels, the double peek coming out. Zekin gets 2 kills, and so does EG. Spike now falls. As Jargamo's looking to get the plant. And with this plant, we'll also have the showstopper. A 3 versus 2 Rolling Thunder available for Death. Gets it out right now, and Sentinels follows right behind it. A flash towards the front of the A site, a counter from Ethan, the first tilt coming out, and then the showstopper onto Death. And it's up to EG now with the advantage, a 2 versus 1. It's up to the Iceman. Molly's still available, a 1 versus 1 first. The jiggle out from Ethan, playing with him as Jargamo then comes in on the other side of the smoke. and it's EG with the post-plant hold.
Marv almost found that 1v1.
Almost.
But they were toying with that sidestep. EG just on the step ahead. And yeah, wow. That looked a lot like Sentinels was going to be able to clean up the round quite a bit, but the ults coming online for EG really flipped the switch there. After seeing the show or the Rolling Thunder go through A halls without hitting anybody, you thought it might just be there's no return on investment other than open angles for EG to find when they come around the corner. Not the case, just the post plant win, 11-5 now. So they've taken bonus round on. Can they keep Sentinels down? A stinger by on that side. Zekin 1 away from ultimate, so we may see that try to be grabbed somewhere. No, they're actually satellite. So if they don't push up, Zekin's gonna have to look for a kill on that. And they wait this round out. Again, down towards a minute for a lot of these teams. Both teams having an average time of up to 40 seconds or 42 seconds on average to get that first kill. So you can see their teams that play the extremities, wait, pull out util and wait for that signature to come back up to re-hit.
And AG's okay with that too. Because if you're looking at the game plan from AG, especially on a map like this, like Fracture, see all the orbs are getting picked up by these players. They're rotating. All of these ultimates as we move into the rounds. Now in the site, Marv waiting on the top of B Heaven. Dropping Jogimo is trying to satchel to find space into B site. All of the players of Sentinels rotated across, but now some doubts. Sasi rotated back towards the A site, so that's weakened out the defense onto B. And it's only Marv by himself. No open plant now for long. Ethan stays inside the site. Steph and Sasi, okay, the Stingers are working so far. The Stingers are actually working very good for Sentinels for the retake. 2 left alive, showstopper to come in for Zekin to clear out the B.
1 enemy remaining.
And somehow it's just all of these Stingers are working in favor of Sentinels. Wow. This was supposed to be a round where EG maybe could have been at 12 with that because of that low buy from Sentinels. They were down, but they're definitely not out.
That is incredibly unexpected. Evil Genius is losing that one, and Sentinels coming up with an incredibly much-needed round. I think they lose that, and the game just goes the way of Evil Geniuses. So Sentinels doing everything they can here to keep themselves in the round, and that took teamwork on the retake. You could see all the util was expent as they retook, blinded, and just absolutely tore Evil Geniuses apart. Boostio, the only one staying alive, but that money that Sentinels has to work through is still a problem. Another buy for Evil Geniuses. We do have Marv with his ultimate, and they're going to start stacking. They like taking this satellite side at least for some pressure. I think this is exactly what Sentinels needs to start doing a bit more of, getting that early info so they can at least start to form a plan before Evil Geniuses hit the site. Can be a ring around the rosy here.
Exactly. Heard the recon dart towards the A side, never got shot off, so EG are inching into the A halls, waiting for a timing to get into Sands. But instead for Sentinels, you talked about the ring around the rosy, 3 players moving up towards Dish. Jogamo just waiting for an opportunity to move inside the A site. And after the control of the orb, Sentinels are moving back into A site. It's up to a lurk play here from Boostio towards B.
Still underneath. Audio cues as well. For a play like Boostio, right, you're hearing people move through spawn, which way they're rotating. So EG, well, flexing a little bit to A halls, is hearing Sentinels adjust on the map. Smokes for Aftershock. A little bit of a fake here as well to start drawing util. Very nicely done.
Smoke, Owl Drone.
Yeah.
The spike still at A. Jogimo ADSing. But only one player is holding.
30
and
seconds
it's Sasi
left.
towards spawn. Smoke's coming down. Jogimo snatchling in. Orbital's tried to delay that clock. 23 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, the plant? No.
Forced off it.
No, you know exactly where it's going down if that happens.
But after all of these sprays and the spams coming out from the util, the plant then comes in into the corner for long A.
Just off the delay satchel. Another all coming through.
And that's on the attack side. Does a bit of damage, forcing the players of Sentinels inside the 8 halls, and that's second with the kill. But gets traded off. Advantage back for EG. It's up to Pancata solo. But it's EG on that point.
Evil Geniuses has constantly forced the hand of Sentinels, where they're moving, how they can position, what util they're trying to delay with. EG goes to B, they get out a ton of priority utility, and like the Aftershock, the nade, the drone. They go back to A, and they're able to just absolutely turn Sentinels for a loop as Sentinels tries to hold, try to scale in. No ground gained. 12-6 here. Game point for EG. We'll see. Sentinels do have enough to buy. The util not looking too scarce. We'll see how they push. Sentinels, or sorry, Zekin straight down to B with a little bit of help. It looks like they'll re-rotate back for A. A reset here after Sentinels try something in the beginning of the round on B extremity. And EG's ready for another hit again. They haven't been deterred from any of the strats they want to run.
It's a little bit faster this time too. No fakes. Jogama's already in.
Where's everybody?
Come had the Hunter's Fury, but it still decides to move into the site to plant. Now forced to play out into the corner. Wow. Sentinels looking to play the retake, a double flank out towards Dish. That's going to be Zekin to try to open it off. Nice little stun out from Saucy's Trailblazer to get the assist onto that kill. Things are looking pretty good for Sentinels for the retake, at least for now. Player an advantage. Calm still inside of the site.
Yeah, he's...
Flashbang coming out. Then the lineup from Jogama. The two players on the crossbar inside A seals it in for EG as they win a convincing fracture to start off the series.
How many multi-kills did we get that game? And through smoke. Like, add those up, they win a few rounds alone. And then you put the fact that Evil Geniuses continue to read Sentinels in and out. The push and the pull was so good. Ethan back on top of his game right now. And that is a scary prospect for Sentinels moving into map 2.
And it almost feels that game of patience really came out for Evil Geniuses towards the end. Sentinels did a great job at least to find and probe. And then when you're starting to figure out, okay, EG's not really here, where do we want to fight back? They're overcooking, overthinking, and EG just capitalizes on their attack side too. Now showing why EG wanted to choose this map to start off the series.
Yeah, they take Fracture, they take the first pistol, and they don't use the second pistol, but they basically take the bonus round on to bring us into map 2. We'll be right back to have that map for you after this.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
History repeats itself for Sentinels as EG take them in a dominant win, 13-6 on Fracture, now sitting 1-0 up in the series. Welcome back to VCT Americas. I'm Mimi, joined again by BCJ and Mel. And Mel, the start to this series, we were expecting it to be close, but really it was dominant from Evil Geniuses.
This is honestly an incredible start by EG. I don't think any of us were expecting this, and I'm meaning that in like the best way possible. We were really expecting that close engagement with Sentinels and EG, but EG just looks so clean. All of their retakes look so coordinated. Ethan, especially, his util from the beginning was impeccable.
The first half, really, it was what, like 6 out of 9 of those retakes that they managed to win? It looked great from EG.
Yeah, and I mean, take a look at those post plants. This is exactly what I was talking about in the pre-show. You get the bomb down 6 times, you win 4 of them. That's a great percentage. Meanwhile, looking at Sentinels, they got the bomb down 9 times, and we're only able to close out 3 of those rounds. I mean, that's tough.
That's brutal. And the game plan for EG was working as well. You had this round that you wanted to chat about with this Sova comp, BCJ.
Yeah, so you usually see this on a pistol round strat, but here it is on a kind of like a bonus. They're going to decide to drone through the door and just crunch topside, crunch bridge, crunch spawn, right? And that's just such a dangerous play if you're not ready for it. And it looks like they weren't ready here, and it caught them off guard. And that's going to be what you're looking to do in those bonus rounds.
I love how EG, the 2 players in spawn, were playing their lives, and that's what you just don't see on the scoreboard. They were holding Sentinels there for like 20 seconds while their teammates came back through B main to flank on the post plant, or on the retake rather.
And that's what got the momentum going for EG. But Sentinels, it took them a really long time to rally back in that first half. It really seemed like at one point, BCJ, that they might have just been boomed, like they were just going to get rolled over. They did get a few rounds right at the end, but it was really brutal.
Yeah, it was looking really tough from the get-go, but I think one of the biggest players that we were looking for was Jaw, and I think he really stepped up on the Raze. That was something I was really impressed with. I mean, you look at these numbers; these are just top-of-the-world superstar Raze numbers.
I think it's really easy for Jawjamo to get overshadowed now that they've got Demon 1 in these jet maps and he takes over. But now that we're seeing like these Raze maps finally get played out by EG, people have forgotten how dominant and how good he was at Raze. And I mean, here it is. Look at this movement. He landed on top of top site on the corner and cleared Marv's when Marv had such a power position to make a play. And his movement is just so clean to watch. And his Raze ults, his util, he's got everything you want in a Raze main.
I feel like he might be the best North American Raze player. Like, he's just so consistently good whenever he plays this agent, either back with old BG or this year as well when he gets those opportunities. It's really, really good stuff out of him. But another guy who was having a great game for the side of EG and who we were talking about in the pre-show, it's being kind of an emotional leader, helping out with the mid-rounding, is Ethan. And we're going to take a look at him warming up for map number 2 in our Aim Lab shoot-around. BCJ, this guy had another stellar performance on that breach roll.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear why they won map 1. I mean, look at this Aim Lab score. I mean, he's playing out of his mind. Hashtag Aim Labs, hashtag ad sponsor me. But yeah, so basically, I mean, look at those shots. But no, Ethan is a all-around one of their best players. He's one of the most confident players as well, if you get to talk to them. And he's definitely vocal as well. So in and out of the server, he's going to be the most impactful player for me. If he is clicking, they are going to be so much better with him.
It can't be understated how hard it is, too, to not only be, like, fragging, but also having that strong vocal and mid-round voice for them and being that anchor emotionally for the team. It just cannot be understated how difficult that is, and not only to finish it out in like a 13-6 fashion on top of that.
Could either of you guys beat this guy in Aim Lab?
Ooh, 1v1 me, bro.
1v1 him? You think you take that? You think you clear?
1v1 me, bro. We'll put up some money. We'll make it fun.
We'll take a look at that one. But it's good work out of him. And for EG, this puts him in a really good spot now, because map number 2 of the series, it's not their choice, but it is Pearl, which we were discussing as one that was quite strong for the squad.
Now, surely this is the map that gets close, right? Surely. This is the one where I've been hyping it up. This is the close one, right?
Let's not jinx it now. Let's not jinx it. But yeah, no, Pearl is an exciting map for both teams. I think we talked about how Marv on Viper really slots in really well. I still think that that's probably his best role on the Lurk.
What do we think about the compositions? Because EG has been cooking on this one. They pulled out that crazy Gecko comp to start with, then moved away from it, have tried the more normal Harbor of Viper variants. Last time they played this against Loud, they did this interesting like Fade Sky comp that just didn't get much value since they got 13-0'd. Which direction do you think they had?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a major change. I think this is something that, I mean, you get 13-0'd, anyone gets 13-0'd. You're going to make changes, and especially seeing it left open in this series, expect big changes, expect composition to feel more comfortable to the players. I think we might see a Jet come out here.
I mean, that would be a good role for Demon 1 to slot into. He's looked so confident on the maps where he does play that Jet.
I mean, that roster change was honestly mostly motivated by the fact that they really wanted this strong Jet player, which, by the way, I think Jojimo is still an incredible Jet, but Demon One definitely brings some prowess to the server when it comes to having insane knives rounds, and there's a lot of rounds where they really depend on him on maps where he plays Jet to have those pop-offs. So I think a lot of it relies on him and if whether or not he shows up today.
Well, let's flip our perspective over to the other squad in the server in Sentinels, because that is a brutal map one to lose. And it's coming off now 3 dominant map losses in a row after their series last week. What do you guys think can bring them back into this? Because it feels like as a player, that's got to be pretty tough on your mental to lose another game like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Sentinels, you're going to look at this and say, listen, guys, they didn't have a strong showing on Pearl. This is going to be a map that, we think we can take. We look pretty good on this. I think they had a 13-6 victory against one of the teams in the last couple of weeks. They're looking confident. I think you just got to regain that mental. Someone on that team's got to say, hey, look at what it is. It's a best of 2. You know what I mean? We got 2 more maps left. We should feel good on Pearl. Let's get our confidence back on this map.
I mean, the fact still stands. They did 13-6 Loud, if I'm not mistaken, on this map, and Loud proceeded to 13-0 EG. So Sentinels, like you said, they need to have like a goldfish memory right now. Forget the first map. It's a BO2. This is where we make our stand, and this is where we stake our spear in the field.
On the other side, though, for EG, this is just a continuation of the confidence. You upset Leviathan last week. Now you win a dominant map over Sentinels. This team honestly looks kind of unstoppable right now. That's going to be really difficult to shut that down.
I think there might be a chance, and you could speak to this, BCJ, too, of is EG going to overheat a little bit here? We have seen it before where they did take a map off of Loud before. It was looking good. They were looking poised to take the 2-0, but it seemed like, I'm not sure if it was nerves or, I mean, those anti-ecos that gets them in that second map versus Loud. Do you think it's possible here that these boys, maybe a little inexperienced, can pull through?
It's always possible. It's always hard to tell, but I think the biggest thing going for EG right now is the momentum. I think it's a very underrated factor in this game, how dominant momentum can be. No matter what score lines both of these teams have had in the past on Pearl, if one team's coming out shooting lights out, it's going to be hard to beat them. So
it can be difficult.
If EG comes out shooting straight and they win, this pistol, I think it could spiral out of control.
There's a big chance of it. But just to give you folks at home a quick update, there's some audio issues on the stage that the admins are currently trying to sort out. So we do have a brief delay getting into map number 2, but we'll get you folks into that as soon as possible. To talk a little bit more about this, for Sentinels, what we've discussed with them a lot is kind of the puggier style, with them coming in with a new player, with Marv. That really worked for them, even against Loud, with Marv getting a lot of value on the lurks in that map. But in map number 1, I don't think we saw those same gaps being exploited.
I think it was because, too, that they were crunching together and they were playing really grouped up on the defense together. And I think, honestly, going to this next map, I was thinking that if Sentinels don't get a hard start here, it's going to be really defeating.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really looking at the roles here for Sentinels. I think their roles have kind of been defined a little bit better now that Zekin is able to play the duelist. I know he's primarily the Raze player, but that is a big thing for them, is to really solidify, hey, you're going to play the similar agents on every map, no matter what. You can really hone in on what you need to work on.
Well, we're almost getting into the match here. It looks like that issue is just finishing being sorted out. So let's talk about the agent select. We were discussing a little bit earlier, but for Sentinels, they've been playing the pretty standard Harbor Viper comp. What does EG go to? Already, it's that Jet for Demon 1 mount.
Yeah, it's the Jet I said was going to come out. I think Demon 1 with the op is just, you've seen it on other teams on this map. It's just dominant. I expect them to probably play something along the Harbor Viper line. It seems like they're going to try to change that up.
Be interesting to see what they cook up, honestly. Ethan the Sky, they have Jaw on the Harbor. It's looking pretty standard so far. They're not going back to their Gecko roots or anything, which is a good thing to see. For Sentinels, they have the Harbor. It's looking pretty standard so far with Zekin on the Jet.
How do you guys feel about Jaw on the Harbor? He just switched off the Raze, which you were giving him a lot of props for. This is still a very new role to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge role swap. Not only is that, going to be hard on him, but it's going to be hard on, the team as well. It's a totally different shift. The duelist player now has to step up. That's going to be Demon 1. We're going to be looking at him to be more vocal in the mid-round and the pre-round. Where does he want to go with the op? Where does he want to get active?
We'll have to see how proactive he can be in this matchup, because it will be a head-to-head between those two compositions, Harbor Viper versus Harbor Viper. It's Sentinels on the ropes, down 1 in the series. We'll have to see if they can rebound here on Pearl as we send it back over to your casters. It's Vans and Riv.
Thank you, Meebs. Yes, indeed. We're going into Pearl this time around, and yeah, I do like actually the changes. I mean, it's still Americom. Nothing's really changed in the past few weeks, but there has been a shift from playing a Raze as duelist, moving into a Jet now for both of these teams, and I kind of like it when you have to play against double controller. That extra level, that extra height that you can get over these walls when you're trying to section onto the attack. On a map like Pearl right now, I mean, it's kind of like an icebox these days, you know? Just like get into B, plant, section the side off, play pulse plan, start spraying. It just becomes now that cohesion, the protocols that BCJ talked about before. Who steps up to the plate this time around? Sentinels, again, trailing behind by 1 in the series.
And that's been a big ask of Zekken lately, right?
Yep.
And can Zekken step up now, being able to focus on this duelist role, everyone behind him, facilitating Zekken with that utility. We'll get to see that Demon 1 matchup versus here on Pearl as they start off. A little bit of Harbor mid control, but it doesn't deter EG. They want to play right towards it. Retake onto A for Sentinels here, and you can see the pings going straight up that art area. So EG know their plan to go and plant. We'll see where the plant spot is and how this affects Calm. Maybe it's going to be planted for him and post-plant util here, but Calm just making sure that A main is clear, and we're going to get a full Sentinels retake.
Something that EG loves to do here. Getting control towards Art, using the Harbor to get the high tide, crossing off the A site and get the plant. And as they push forward, it's actually still EG that's holding it down for a bit.
Again, the frenzies, Van Silly.
Yeah.
Again, the frenzies.
This time with Ethan too. Advantage comes out now for the attack. Tap onto the spike, and the Ghost is being shot from A main. Boostio runs through, but at least gets the info. Nobody on the spike yet as the Cloudburst comes out. Pancata falls, and both players can now close in. 6 HP left onto Zekken on a 2 versus 1. And you're just playing the patient game. EG looking to seal the faith unless Zekken gets an ace here. Activating onto the Cloudburst, but it's still Calm with the kill, and EG with the pistol.
Zekken getting to the plate, stepping up to the plate. Almost the ace, Van Silly. 4 kills on that round for Zekken as we ask for it. And he is taken down in the end. Tall task there to be able to defuse and get that amount of pressure taken care of. Calm comes up with a kill. EG caught with another pistol round. They add to the stats once again, and they took off once they got pistol round on Fracture. We'll see if Sentinels can keep him at bay this time. It is going to be a Marshall buy there for Zekken since he did get the 4K. He'll spend a little bit of that money. This A push is going to start with the spike down, and Sentinels are kind of moving this Death ball around a little bit. It looks like we'll see Saucy and Death moving around together throughout the map pretty consistently. They like to play this combo together, so keep an eye out for that. And the slow push from EG will continue on A.
Exactly. EG trying to find out where this Marshall could be. It's actually posted up now in B site for Sentinels. That's where Zekken's holding it off, and that's the other execution once again, this time from the A main, sectioning off towards Art and towards Flower Pot. And nobody to greet EG into the round. Safe plant, easy one as well.
Spike planted.
But there's one hiding in the mound. It's Pancata.
Oof.
Overloaded by utility, and 2 other players are falling in towards Flower Pots. The last 2 players from Sentinels were waiting here towards the B site, rotating across. And it's looking to be a pretty clean flawless so far for EG.
Thought Sentinels might have had a bit of a reflank there coming around from B, but both players do decide to go back through spawn. We see the last one here, Marv. Maybe a shot? Maybe a pixel? No, a Demon 1 now getting 3, which adds to the Blade Storm coming up faster as well. Ethan's pretty close to his ult as well. So EG really looking to start this off. And you gotta think Zekken's 1 away too. So we could get some very, very early ultimates. Oh, the smoke kills don't stop, we see. From one map to the next. A few more going through these walls. It's the setup towards A to start here. That quick harbor, high tide, and a guiding light most likely.
She's sharp.
See if they can deny a push here on this A orb. They think Zekken might be getting that ultimate. Quick 1-2. I wonder if they deny the orb themselves, right? Not too much mid play this game. We'll have to see which team decides to go for that first. Usually it's the defense harbor wall coming up. As Zekken will start off with the first one, and he does get Demon 1 down. That's a big frag and confidence for him and for the team to start off here in this bonus.
That was a good flash by Saucy to get the info onto the B link.
Just caught him.
Sentinels are also playing very passive info. Look at that alarm bot all the way down towards the Fender spawn. Turret up towards Art. That's going to sound the alarm for Sentinels to get ready. Knowing now that there's potentially a split into A. EG just looking to play the contact first, and as the site's clear, now it comes to full execution. Ethan off that frag, gets the Seekers. It's going to get info off the players into spawn. Nobody watching, nobody rotating, and nobody flanking from Sentinels. All of them are moving in from spawn.
Dog-eat-dog world out there.
Second once again leading the charge. Cleared up the space into the retake of the A side. Joggimo playing very close. They are on a bonus, trying to play with the Spectre, dancing it around, and the vulnerable building onto depth. Gets the kill. Info on the left. Onto the right as well. And that gives enough time for the rest of EG just to play the post plant pretty much. Denies here off the nano swarms. It's going to be a triple swing. Players waiting on the other end, and it's still Pankata and Seconds again get the last kill. 1 versus 1 against Com. As the protocols were there for both of the teams, just dependent to see who's going to win those duels, and it's going to be Sentinels.
And for this map, Sentinels do change it up. They get that bonus for themselves, and it is Zekin to do it. The confidence continues to ring out from the duelist for Sentinels, and they need rounds now. That blade storms up. He might even get a drop towards somebody. No, just regular buy. You can see his credit spent. But it is going to be another gun round here for the side of Evil Geniuses. They set up towards A. A lot of B main push from Sentinels has allowed them to understand priority towards A can be a simple setup. They can wait for EG's utility and don't have to wonder what's going on. You already see they're almost set up to push B main once again. It looks like they'll pull off this time as we watch EG go for A. That's reckoning up. And Zekin will actually be rotating pretty quick here. He's going to try to be all over the map to be where EG's activating, but they are able to route around Zekin, and they're choosing to gamble for B. This will be one of the first B hits.
It's quiet so far, the jump spots from Saucy. At the tail front of the B site. Tail end of the B site, and flashes to find info towards the B link. Still nothing yet, and finally off the third jump. The contact to come in, the reckoning to come out of Joggimo into the B site.
Cove out.
Safe plant.
Yep. Oh, they've identified a lot of players just by shooting, actually, so EG should have a good idea of how this site is going to be retaken, or taken back by Sentinels.
And another duel from Zekin, 1 against Demon 1. Saucy looking to flash deep into site to allow Zekin to move in. Counter flash out from Ethan, who gets the kill back. Nicely done as he's still holding the back lines. Def looking to go for that flank. Looking to pinch, but he gets sprayed. Another kill through the smoke. And nothing seems to be working here for Sentinels. There's no cover, no safety behind any of these smokes so far in this series. As Pankata at least trying to do a little bit of damage before he escapes, but it's still going to be the round for EG.
That's crazy, Vansilli. These smoke spams, anytime this is happening in a game, I'm like, all right, I'm standing in the hot zone too much. Where the spam's coming down, the angle, the timing, just change everything you're doing. Just, I don't know, switch hands. That's so wild that they keep getting spammed like that, and you really can't have a rebuttal. You know, maybe that's the util that was going to cut a back haul. It gets spammed down. You know, things are just getting stopped in their tracks for Sentinels right now. No way to come up with a plan when that happens. 3-1 now, as Evil Geniuses do not let that bonus go any further than 1 defuse round for Sent. And they're back onto a low buy. Pankata does have a Phantom for himself and a few bits of armor, but they're piecing together what they can to know they can buy next round. It looks tough. It looks like EG can just pick them apart whenever they want with the way these rounds are going. Long B push once again. It's just gonna be Zekin this time.
With the Marshal 2 just looking to fight. Trying to escape, staying alive in the back of the site. And finally his teammates beat up. No matter what, still a plant coming in for EG. I like it. From a cove into a poison orb, just making sure that Joggimo get the plant and fall back. Pankata with that save rifle, though, opens up the round. Ethan the fall. So no backline defenders in the B site. All of EG looking to play the post plant. First nano storm to come out, second one being thrown down, but shot right away. So that's less delays now for EG. Now time for the bloodbath. Poison orb into the snake bite. Nobody can actually get into the defuse so far for Sentinels. You can definitely see it right here as the high tide comes down. Still, as we have nobody onto the spike. A round's gonna come in for the Evil Geniuses as Busio adds up 4 kills into the round.
You can see Calm there. It's kind of like, what is happening right now? Gets the classic kill on the end of that one. They still had safety with one more player anyways. But these harbor walls, so neat. They'll start cutting things off, pressuring Sentinels to have to push forward there. And it does not make it easy for the retake when you're bundled up like that.
Yeah.
Here's a big buy now. Operator coming out for Zekin. Ultimates for Sentinels.
Just to add into the high tide of what they're doing there on that post plan, it's so hard for the defenders to get through that wall to fight back too. So
you've already tried to use your util to get into sight.
Exactly.
They got to use it to take B long back. The layers that come into taking B there do become difficult, even though it's the main strategy we see. You're still able to drain your opponent of utility. A hit here, already very close up for the lockdown. Blade Storm for EG as well. As they try to put the pressure onto Sentinels. Viper's pit goes down as well. Remember, we have an operator in this round too, Van Silly.
The thing is with the pit, there's still the front of that pit to be able to plant.
Death.
Yeah, still gets the wallbang kill onto Busio. One player did get locked down, but it's still gonna be safe. Spraying back once again with the Phantoms through the pit, through the high tides.
And you mentioned it, it's kind of a neat pit. Leaving the plant space open as Reckoning comes out. It almost allows Sentinels to get forward and use that util a lot closer.
Ooh. Zekin just got to pick off Calm, trying to get the lurk into B site. If that was possible, EG would rotate out that area. And with that flash,
great find.
Players can get ready in the front of the site, and that player right here. Death looking for the third.
Left.
Stopped by Demon 1.
Down A.
4 versus 1, 25 seconds left on the clock. Rifle and Blade Storm available. Marv with the spray, swinging it out, and will get the kill. The hold still matches to work for Sentinels, despite a very interesting Viper's Pit that went towards the A site.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. Lately, I feel like Viper's Pit allows a team all the space they want to encroach back into a position there because you have the ability to get on each side and then take it.
Yep.
There, Sentinels get the chance to stay just outside and quickly pop flash through the smoke, be in the face of EG. Really neatly played there, and it actually stops EG from getting themselves fully onto the site in a secure way. 2-4 here as we get into round 7. Sentinel's able to stop the bleeding a little faster here, show a little bit more gusto on Pearl, but it looks like EG still has the upper hand as of now. That operator is still in play, and we said it would be tough for a last round win. Didn't even matter. They didn't need Zekin for that. So Sentinels is really getting their defense on par now with what happens for EG's attacks.
With an op in hand for Zekin, usually an op in jet, you're thinking about lockdowns towards the lane of B long, towards A entrance. But Sentinels did do their homework, knowing that EG likes to look for this pressure into Art. That's where they're holding the op there.
Jogamo get Reckoning? Very much so. They've had a lot to get themselves in these sites, and B position is ready for a Reckoning. Also, A is outside of sight, so Sentinel's is thinking about this. Oh, it's used at mid?
That's Calm with a nice little kill. And it's used towards mid to allow EG, there you go, to get that arc control instead. What? Calm still gets a second kill as Marv looks for the lurk, looks for the retake, looks for the flank, and gets denied.
30 seconds
And that gives an opportunity for Calm to get his own lurk while the rest of EG are looking for the plant, which will be successful in the A site.
Spike planted.
Really clean thought here by the side of EG to grab the orb. Jogamo with a shot, traded back by Saucy though.
With a knob picked up, and this was a slightly lower buy they have for the attack of EG. Battle and a save. As both Brazilians once again as Sentinels looking to play the retake. 3 versus 2 to start to a 3 versus 0. Nothing here that Sentinels could do as they still had that lurk from EG in the back spawn.
EG playing the map beautifully there. It is identifiable by Sentinels or by your opponent when you grab the alt orb and where that might go, right? It would go on to Jogamo. Already nobody was in sight considering that's a possibility. EG then uses Reckoning outside the site, exactly where Sentinels is, identifying that it would be passive play on defense. Just like I said, one step ahead, creating these rounds for themselves, and it will be a timeout called now.
What can you really do at this point now, Riv? Sentinels, I mean, they've been burning out timeouts after timeouts from the first map to the second.
Yeah.
And even trying to fight towards that mid-control and trying to get that up there, trying to get the first pick, it still doesn't work out for them.
I'm pretty sure last time Sentinels called a timeout, EG like pushed every extremity of Fracture, right? One of the first ones. So I don't know if EG are using this time as well to say, be aware or be ready. Demon 1 with that operator still. We will see low armor now being favored for that purchase for money saves on the side of Sentinels. Saving a bit of cash to get into next round, knowing this is going to be tough. Whether or not they're making it out of this alive, they're losing numbers. So any way they can get themselves back into economy and back into having more util, the low buy is one of those.
I like that call, actually, from that operator in the hands of Demon 1. That was the op that was picked up and left behind by Zekin when he got dropped on that previous round. You saw Joggamo pick it up. And off this timeout, EG wants to find an opportunity. How can you use this op on the attack? He's posted up to work towards B-Long.
Yeah. Not much pressure on B-Long at all. So this may be one of the first looks they're going to be taking. Thinking Sentinels might usually push this area. It's just a hold for Demon 1. So they don't want to show really that they, where that op is, I should say, either. They know they have an op, but where it is a question.
They might find that out very soon.
A little bit of B pressure finally coming in here from Boostio. Gonna go through Link as, oh, the dog takes the shot. Demon 1 gets the same.
He's had some support. Instant trade as Zekin falls, so both duelists now down. Heal coming out on the attack for Ethan, as that might initiate the push for EG to plow towards his B site. Gap towards the Cascade. A big gap, actually. So you have to choose the Trailblazer, but it gets stopped by the snake bite from Kong. So an indirect trade, and now a plant inside, a lot of utility for EG. The thickest one being the pit. Dropped down here by Com. Pushed back by a lockdown, though, from Pancata. Trying to clear towards the backside as Joggimo's still out there behind the screens.
Deja vu.
Doesn't even matter if this pit comes down now. It's a 2 versus 1. Def, all of the utilities still available. Tap onto the spike, trying to swing out.
Oh.
He's gonna go look for the second tap.
That's a lot of distance. It's hard to tap which way somebody's planning on this one. They do find him.
I mean, this is still EG. That's been the storyline so far, Riv. Trying to spam through smoke. I don't think these guys gonna miss today.
That's gonna be the one they missed? Never. Never. I mean, Joggamo, I feel like he is just copy-paste from last week. Coming out of that A-hall, or coming out of that back halls area, whether he's in his cove, whether he's not, multi-kill round after multi-kill round. Ethan here as well. We already talked about him today, but we're still going to. Yeah, much more of a personal step up from everybody here. Is obviously making the whole team look better as EG is playing immaculate right now. A little bit of A pressure. This could be an orb for Def. They will grab a Reckoning once they get control. And it's the first time Sentinels has really flexed their muscles in the beginning of a round to show EG that they were taking a portion of the map. Mid's been open. A main's not controlled. B has been pushed a few times.
Yep.
But EG, they've kind of had free reign of the map and then easy execute for them.
You're right. The only positive thing towards that B-Long was that 1v1 a few rounds ago between Zekin and Demon 1, which worked the second time around. Still a first blood for Zekin, but EG had support that time around to fight back. So pushing more players towards the A site works out for EG to push now towards mid instead. It allows Marv to get the pick off the Stinger.
Still a full hold on A. Traded back right down B Link.
And that's open now for B.
Yeah, I wonder if Marv tries to get this weapon.
You move.
Oh. Joggamo is just jumping in circles as he goes down to make sure he's still covered with utility out. Like the brain continues to grow.
Snakebite on the ground to even flush him out. He just gets a drive-by with the Phantom. But Sentinels already looking to push back. Zekin love tap through the smoke. He gets fully blinded by the flash of Ethan. Second flash coming out, still gets the kill.
Beautiful.
With the Stinger now, weapon looking to get picked up. 3 players still alive for Sentinels that are moving in now. Joggamo playing just on the other side of the high tide. And once again, a kill, 2 kills through smokes.
What is this?
I mean...
Oh my gosh.
Map 1 was what? The storyline of stick the fuses for EG on a defense, and map 2 now just kills through smokes.
And map 2 could be very much the same scoreline of a 9-3 here, or even worse for the side of Sentinels, and better for EG if they continue this. Sentinels is only able to string, not even string, get one round, and then it instantly back in Evil Genius's favor. They push, they figure it out, they wait for Sentinels to make a mistake and string a few of their own together on the side of Evil Geniuses. It's definitely not a way that it can allow you to win a game if EG continues to pick up 3 for your 1. It's almost like the old Looney Tunes. 1 for me, 1 for you. 1, 2 for me, 2 for you. It's not how it works. See the push towards mid. EG finally gaining a bit of that ground. It looks like it will end B here, but they're still going to feel out the map and see what Sentinels has first.
At least both. Players on the side of Sentinels are greeted up by a third player. That's Def rotating across for 3 players out there. And for EG at the beginning of the round was just a lot of noise at the top. Get that orb to allow the Seekers to be available for Ethan.
I've got your trail.
He's going to use that right now to continue to fake towards the B site. All of EG walking towards A for a split there. But Sentinels read into this. But it's a fake after fake. A double pump, actually.
Around the world.
Op still up, though, towards that long B.
Let's see how late they put this wall up.
30 seconds left.
Fuel first. Fuel down, wall up, so they don't double and use that gas utility, but they're gonna meet Saucy right here. Ethan takes them out. Great trade, great teamwork.
Zekin!
They needed one of those.
At least the Reckoning comes out now for the defense. Lucio has to stick onto that plan, getting stunned. 1 for 1, but the advantage out for EG still does make it out indeed.
3v2.
As EG still has a crossfire set up. Nothing could be done now. History repeats. Pencat on a 3 versus 1. Stopped by Demon 1. And EG with a convincing pulse plant.
Wow. Flying in, even able to repair the fact that Zekin gets an op shot on the planter. Reckoning comes out, doesn't matter, planting that.
Spike planted.
Just get splashed by a little bit of water. Don't worry about it. Team's there to help you. And the comms there have to be great as well. Keep planting, keep planting. You're safe, right? We have you. Yeah, EG is definitely making that work too.
Here.
Round 11. 2 rounds for Sentinels. They look to take a little bit of A main control once again to start. Just a bit of an idea on another low buy round for them. And EG has had trouble with anti-ecos, but it looks like they are just standing strong on these rounds. Demon 1 with the operator again as they play it slow, wait for a peek. Even with this lead, EG is still playing these rounds slow.
Oh yeah.
With another kill.
Still shows the respect now that EG has against Sentinels, trying to read the perfect way of working this map. Is there a stack from Sentinels somewhere? This first blood, you really want to try to push it. Look at all these pings. And on Sentinel's side, you were hoping at least, look at Zekin at this point now with that stinger, but he had a Blade Storm ready on that previous round, invested into an operator. You thought hopefully he would be able to carry it over into this round here should they lose the round. But Sentinels did have an opportunity to retake the play on a 3 versus 2 or a 2 versus 3 disadvantage. So he doesn't have the Blade Storm this time around. But at least he's holding towards the back of the site with this stinger. Wall to come up on the defense just to run that clock down if they can. Ethan does have a flash if they want to use it through the screen. Especially with this high tide that comes out on the defense now. Crossfire is now being set up, and there's that kill with that stinger from Zekin. 12 seconds left under the clock. Death's looking to make the play.
Got
he
down.
did have the support inside that code.
4v3.
Zekin towards the back. Still once again with that battle. Done a good job, but this time around, it's being forfeited. Joggermilk can get this flank. Not even needed. Calm was already there, and that's EG now at 9-2. And look at the smiles across the faces of these players.
You can see how well it's clicking. and what that means for these strategies. They didn't even need the full squad to take the site here. They know that. You have this almost double flank coming in. Obviously, Joggo's back hall because site take, but the way they're able to just enter that crossfire, seamless. And that has been the name of the game for EG this entire series. Sentinels now calling a timeout. We do see that there was an operator in Zekin's hand here for the last round. Down to 0 credits, straight to the pocket lint for this buy. Let's see if it works out for him to, again, like we said, this could be another 9-3 here, just like first map. Could be a 10-2 as well.
And you see Potter, she's just agreeing. So at this point, remember those comms that came out before where Comm had one of those rounds like, hey, let me call, let me, I have something cooked up, I have something I could plan out, and it worked out for a round that they got. And Potter seems for today, giving a lot of confidence into her players. So you could just take the reign into the game, understanding the main game plan and what they wanted to come up against Sentinels. And it's been working out so far.
EG has just been so versatile, it seems. Not versatile, but more set in their roles and able to play a versatile style with now having Demon 1. How comfortable everybody is, the kind of plays they're making, their confidence to push up. You see the operator still going from multiple hands on this team as they can switch it up like an old Cloud9 of old with Mitch and players. So yeah, it doesn't know, haven't seen too much of EG with what they show you each week. It's always different, right? Whether they play trap plays, whether they're playing retake now. Seems like they're really fluid now with this solid team. 9-2, like we said, Zekin has that operator. Oh, he did not, actually. He decides to not go for it. He switches it up.
Yeah. Sentinels just wants to fight into the A main. It's a 1-for-1. And once again, both duelists instantly fall in the early rounds in the first contact. Took a lot of time before the first execution came in for the map control attempt. It's still a stalemate. 4 versus 4. Trailblazers are coming out, and even a high tide early. Should I say that's a cascade to block off towards the art? EG are just cutting noise for a late re-hit.
Poison's off.
Play a little contact. This is the first time we've seen EG play contact.
The orb now being picked up too. Seekers coming out on the defense, but the orb picked up on the attack allows the Reckoning to be available for EG.
One more Seeker. Cabbage mid. All right, we rotate back around. This is a pretty easy defense for Sen. They're round to lose. 3 should be locked up here for Sentinels as we move into the second half. And all 3 members of Evil Geniuses now guiding light towards B. This is going to be up to Pencata to start.
It's 17 seconds left on the clock. Pencata maybe could try to find some sort of timing. The Cove comes out, trying to get the spray. And that's what they were talking about at the desk before. Trying to spray, trying to deny the plan, but you get stunned there by the ult of the Reckoning.
Yeah, you can't stand still for too long, but damned if he didn't try, right? All right, they're pushing towards B-Link. Double B-Link.
That's what Sentinel's trying to do. Trying to go for the retake. But Snakebite into the spawn, delaying a little bit more. Joggermo gets it on a 3 versus 3.
This crossfire is incredible.
The crossfire for EG. Gives the advantage by 1. Sassy leading out towards the heaven, and the high-low doesn't work out. It's not a 9-3 curse. It's EG in the lead, 10-2.
They set up like a Tetris piece. Just at the 3 corners. That was impossible for anybody to get into that site. Like I said, Vansili, answers to everything. It's wild.
Well, now it's time to pass it over to Diane Dryad, who has an interview with one of my favorite graphic artists, Disguised Toast.
One of my favorite graphic artists too, and I'm over here with this guy's Toast. He's having a co-stream right here in the arena. Toast, is the second time that you're here. How are you feeling for the arena? How are you feeling for the match? Are you surprised about the score?
Very surprised. I know like Sentinel's been trending down and EG's been trending up, but this has been a really dominant performance by EG.
We're expecting at least those 3 maps. I mean, there's still a chance.
Yeah, I thought it was going to go 2-0 Sentinels, but at this point, I'm going to switch sides and root for EG.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Just in time. Okay, and now let's talk about DSG. So this is your team. We've seen a couple of very close performances at Challengers with this team, and we saw a tweet as well. So talk us through kind of what has been going on with that team.
Yeah, so the team, the performance hasn't been so great, but we've had like a lot of close games. Like we lost like 1-2 this week. We lost 1-2 last week, and I think the team is like struggling a little bit, but everyone's still very confident, like keeping their head down, trying their best. And I will say, like, we find very cool ways to lose rounds. I think we're one of the...
I remember that one.
The 1v5 eco diffuse, and you can't even be mad about that.
Things that happen, you know, it's content for sure. So just for the next matches that you guys have is going to be kind of, what are the hopes really quickly and how it's going to go for you?
We're up against like two of the better teams in our group, and it's the two teams we played the most that 4-0'd us combined last split. M80 TSM, so we played M80 TSM, M80 TSM. It was lost. But if there's a time to get a revenge game, it would be next week.
It's gonna be those 2 weeks. We're gonna see. We're definitely cheering for DSG. Definitely, you guys also watch challenges as we throw it back to the casters for the second half of map 2.
Thank you, Dan and Disguised Toast. And indeed, if you've missed that Ninja Diffuse chat, the 5 versus 1 that we're able to get, or fortunately DSG had to suffer on split. Make sure you watch that VOD. If not, also make sure you watch the live games for NA Challengers happening during the week. Well, we had the VCTs over the weekend, and as Toast was mentioned before, the team has to keep their head down and keep working, just like Sentinels has to do right now in this half right here. Backs against the wall, trailing behind by 8 rounds to try to tie things up against EG. And this is their last hope, last hurrah here.
Big pistol round. Already we're gonna get activated dash from Demon 1 to see if he can get out of this situation. No, he doesn't even activate it. Stone cold. I feel like he could smoke and get out in most situations.
Exactly.
All the way down to B for Sentinels. They're not going to waste any time. Actually, quite a fast round for them, because they only took a little bit of time there in spawn, and we're going to get a quick plant here. Cove plant middle. Okay, I thought he was going for side plant for a second. So plant out in the open. 2 push towards Hall. Pretty default setup here for post plant.
Let's try to look at these protocols now for EG. High tide available. Trailblazer to clear towards the back of the site. 2 players falling behind. Yes, a couple of them are dazed. And we're pictured towards the front, too.
Oh my gosh.
Flash behind the high tide. Cove up. And now EG's looking for the defuse. Nothing so far that Cells could do. At least a kill. A second one from Pancata. That's a spike, though. Not yet a halfway. Pancata gets the 3rd kill. A 2 versus 2. Can he actually get it done? 4th headshot on the Takamo. A 1 versus 1. He gets the ace. And a save for Sentinels.
One of the cleanest aces this season of Valorant Americas coming out from Pancata. Let's see it again.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Last player standing.
Dude, off the reload, head to head, no obstacles.
Oh! Thank you, chef. Thank you. Thank you. That will not be a pistol round for Evil Geniuses.
Nope.
If Pancata has anything and everything to say about it.
I could definitely see the chat. 10-2 is a new 9-3.
Yeah, after that. We'll have to see what kind of pressure they can keep up. It's going to be the triple Bulldog buy here. If they can get through this round, FPX buy for 3rd, they could be really well set.
Yes. Looking to do something there. Some sort of trap play, aggression out, and that's the beauty of the Jet. The updraft over the high tide for the last kill. And that's a clean flawless. Really running behind that ace, the momentum that's built up by Pancata.
Awesome stuff.
1 enemy remaining.
FPX buy into the round, get themselves some Bulldogs, see if they upgrade here to the 2 rifle, 3 Bulldog next round. Or if they decide to stick. Actually, Zekken's gonna feel fine on this Stinger, actually. Build up that money, make it more possible to get an operator in the later rounds. Why spend if you don't have to? Where are they going? 3-2 split to start off. Kind of more of a default, rather. Just to feel out the map. Spike is down by shops right now, and it is a push-up here. Demon 1 again. So he feels confident to almost take up towards Pillar almost every round now. Super focused here to try and get himself a frag and get out in time.
Yep. Has the utility for that escapability. Turning away from the flash to start.
Oh, he's looking for help here.
Definitely
gonna get util help. That cascade could allow him to get left side.
Clear. First kill. But then Zekin answers back with the stinger. Joggermo now forfeiting his position out towards B. Delaying with the second cascade, waiting for the rotate to come out from his teammates. Meanwhile, though, for Sentinels, opening up towards this B site. Behind a Trailblazer as Marv doesn't check his corner. Gets punished by Busia. Rainbow looking for a timing off this flash! Again! It's beautiful for the guy! Into the round! And EG answer back in their gun round.
I wish we could honestly get a replay of their Pearl game last week. It is the exact same play without a cove. What the heck? He cannot be stopped in that position. Gonna start calling this Joggermo.
Enemy remaining.
Oh my gosh. Like I said, the multi-kills that EG are able to pick up, and they're not exactly round saving. It's not like, oh my god, he needed to do that. But they're just doing that anyways, right? There was still cavalry to come on that play, the site to be taken. But it is just EG able to stop Sentinels in their tracks again, time after time.
You got me. And that's how you answer back for the Evil Geniuses. Thankfully, though, for Sentinels, it was a bonus round now. Able to still invest into a rifle round this time around. Breaking utility to start things off. Flash to find information. It's going to be Ethan allowing Busia to peek out. But Sentinels decided to fall back for a bit. You still see Penkata watching for a long A push. But EG's taking that opportunity to move forward. Second on the first, stopped immediately by Ethan. Def, the second one in line, does get the dink onto Demon 1, but they fall back for the heal, and EG gets the opportunity with the player advantage for this round.
I think that might be the first bit of mid fight we actually have seen this entire map.
You're right.
Everything's to A, everything like that. They've gone art, but we haven't seen the mid fights yet. There's another frag going down there as I blabber on about mid. Here we go. Here we go through art. And they're trying to focus up. We actually saw Killjoy utility just pulled back, so EG realizes this is moving pretty quick towards the other side of the map.
And the turret got refreshed, placed towards the flower pots.
Exactly.
But Death's still alive, so they have the high tide. That's not going to get too much information. And on the attack, too, it's Penkata with the lockdown early into the second half. Sentinels does get the plant. EG have to wait for the lockdown to finish. Flash available for Ethan. Gonna throw it through the high tide as they peek through. But it's still util onto that spike. One nano swarm. Left behind Snakebite towards the back of the site. This second Snakebite already comes down because the alarm bot got stopped. Demon watching that flank, getting the first kill onto Sasi. Last three players of Sentinels are playing towards long A. There's that second nano stop once again. It's up to the traits to come out. But it's just EG too strong. EG now at map and series point 4-12. 4-12, Riv.
Vans, we came into the series saying even like the Leviathan game was great, but looking at the Loud game and the Furia game for Evil Geniuses, they were they almost 2-0'd Loud, by the way, and were 3 rounds away from beating Furia as well. Not the signs of an 8th place team, and I think they have found the way, the identity of how to play this squad. I mean, look at Joggermo now, from Raze to a controller from map to map, and he is absolutely slamming. 16-11. Really
That's
great stuff.
The beauty of it, to see strong duelists play into these controller roles. Think about Jacob C9, think about Tui's going into Loud, but think about Second's kill onto Demon 1. And that's a reckoning from both ends. But will it end right here for Sentinels? So far, Calm answers back, evening up the tally on a 4 versus 4. Second still looking for the hero play. Headshot onto Ethan, and that still flashes for the retake, and that's always been very important for the Evil Geniuses. And that might be a disciplined play for EG at this point.
Yeah.
Cutting their losses.
Okay.
Using the rifles into the next round.
Yeah, actually, Demon 1 on 0. They've been going pretty hard on spending because of the situation. They have the rounds to play with. There's no problem in that. Saucy looking to get a little more safety in this positioning, and they'll get themselves out. So another round here for Sentinels. Not yet pushing Evil Geniuses at all, but they do have the operator for Zekin. That was a very big round for him to open up above the clouds of the gas and then take down Demon. So this could be a bit of a switch. This might slow them down, though. With the operator, you almost want to see if that pick can happen first. They do have Saucy very close to Seekers, so they may be able to get that. And they may find a Blade Storm of their own on the other side after this timeout, because Demon 1 got his on that death. Marv is pretty icy.
And congratulations for hitting bronze 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
I actually saw another sign too. I think it was a happy birthday to Danger Zone, by the way. So happy birthday, Danger Zone in the crowd.
Snap. Okay. Okay.
Nobody's gonna cheer for his birthday? But yes, let's talk about this timeout. A very important one too. These have been moments now for EG where, you know, they've had leads, they've won maps, they've got dominant against Loud a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And then it comes down to these moments where you're almost at the finish line, but then you're getting like, okay, let's play it. Okay, it's only 1 round.
Right.
We still have 8 rounds.
What's stopping you from closing it out?
Exactly.
You have so many chances.
So off this timeout for Potter, is it going to be one of those plays, hey, let's not play for the win, let's just play aggressive, fight, play against Sentinels, instead of playing the protocols of the retakes. They might have an opportunity now because of the Blade Storms. The Blade Storm, sorry, that's available for Demon 1. Rifles for the rest, and a Bulldog for Ethan.
It's a push-up, too. EG playing that. This is where Demon 1 has played a bunch. Now he has the help of Jogamo, so they're giving him the Cascade as well to move forward with and escape a little better with, because I feel like Demon 1's been perfectly okay with doing a one and done in that situation. Here they want him alive. They want the refresh Blade Storm and a kill. Push towards A. Remember, this is an ultimate for Saucy. These are Seekers coming up.
Screen down.
Ethan's also on that, so fighting for this A orb right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Trailblazer out.
There was no information off the flash from Ethan that was probably going to be his orb, but it's Sentinels to take instead.
My ult's ready.
All right, Cabbage is away. Let's see how they retake this.
It's quiet.
It's very default for EG, so Sentinels, they have the chance to set up and create a very strong post plant here. Even a little bit of scaling if they can get a kill on Calm in the back there.
Zekkin's posted up there towards that pit. Sentinels looking to play the contact and it work out. Delays now coming out for EG, and Calm somehow gets 2 kills through the smoke. The high tide that was placed behind by Depp. Now Saucy onto the tap. Calm looking for the wall bang. But again, that's not gonna work here when there's a code that was still up, the plant to come through. And a snake bite to delay, but it misses. Time for EG to play the retake. Pancata's now spotted towards the arc. Pancata with the kill onto Demon 1, but gets traded off by Busio. It's all up to Saucy. Make that it's all up to Death. A 4 versus 1. The Cascade to block the vision, and EG to win the series.
EG claim victory over their first North American team. They've been having trouble doing it, and they're able to find that win here over Sentinels pretty convincingly in a 13-6 and a 13-5 fracture to Pearl. Absolutely incredible play across the squad. You're seeing Demon 1 still able to step up. Ethan coming back to being Ethan. Dude, giving us a bit of that lock-in play once again. And everybody on the board, honestly. Calm was asked to step up, stepped up. Playing between the Sova, the Viper as well, and Jogamo. He must have had 2 or 3 3Ks this game. I can't. You can't forget Pancata's ace this game, though. That was beautiful.
EG definitely does have the family buff today, but I think it's not only about the family buff, it's to see how EG's been playing throughout the weeks, right? Coming up with ways to cook up with the wingman, with the Gecko, and then suddenly losing like a 13 almost to 0 against Loud. And sometimes those type of performances, those types of losses into certain maps really shines away from all the good things that EG has put together. Which why maybe it didn't look like it was supposed to be such a convincing victory from the eyes of a fan of Valorant watching this for the first time. Where suddenly, usually when you're seeing Sentinel's name, the tenure of this roster, it should be once again here, Riv, is the key word. An easy victory for Sentinels instead.
That's
But
right.
EG definitely fighting very, very strong in this series.
I think Evil Genius has worked a lot on the comfortability of how the players feel in-game.
Yeah.
Wow, how they're pushed and supported to play their role, to move forward, to do things on their own, but also ask for support. It looks like a whole lot of teamwork went into that game.
Yeah. Usually when we watch these games in the past few weeks, when we still had an opportunity to vote for an MVP, I think for today's MVP is also probably going to have to be the 6th, 7th, 8th player or whatnot for the smokes for EG, right? The amount of smokes that came down and the amount of smoke kills that they were able to get.
Yeah.
Just spraying with the Phantoms. Again, the Phantom supremacy, as we see week after week, a great way to counter up against double controller plays, not only on the jet, but on the way that you want to use those rifles to fight off against the sectioning of the double controller plays.
Also, big consistency in Evil Genius's pistol rounds. We saw them thrashing with frenzies today. Like we said, the second highest pistol rate win percentage, and they show it here against Sentinels, but also carry through a bonus round on that first game. A lot of places where they would drop the ball before have been shored up for Evil Geniuses. And it looks like they did their homework against Sentinels too.
Yeah.
They had a game plan, but were also able to counter a game plan.
Yeah. And usually I've been hanging out in the watch parties over at Sliggy, and every time you see a map on Pearl, it's like, not Pearl again, but I think they have something to study here. They have something to look out forward to, and they have some new stuff coming out from EG of how they played that map. And it also comes down to the extra obstacles that always came out from Jogmill, right? You talk about how they play behind the smokes. That code adds that extra place of utility that he can fight from anywhere that he wants. But that's enough from us here at the front desk. We'll send it to the analyst desk to see how they want to break down the series.
Thanks very much, Vans. Yeah, it was a dominant game for EG. 2-0 victory to bring them now 3-4 in the standings. Still a real chance of making playoffs in this one, Mel. And it seems like for the first time, all the pieces are starting to click for this EG squad.
It was a convincing win for EG against an opponent with Sentinels, with players on that team that have won world championships. It's honestly incredible. Nothing to take away from EG. They played a phenomenal game. Sentinels barely got double digits across an entire series. It just can't be understated how well EG played. They played their own game. I really didn't feel like there was much like anti-shouting or a huge amount of prep. You just see them. Fundamentally, they were the better team in every way today.
You were building up how important the fundamentals would be in this game ahead of it, and that's really what brought them through. But on top of that, BCJ, they pivoted in their composition back to the more standard Harbor Viper, and it still looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to help them a ton. I mean, you look at those post plans, 10 out of 11. I mean, that's an insane number. Can't really dream for anything better than that on Pearl. So for them to get that scoreline, I mean, that's really hard to beat.
And the mid-rounding was good as well. This is one where they called a really interesting fake to win one of these late rounds, adding a bit more complexity to some of these calls.
Yeah, I really like this round. This was like a multi-stage fake. I think they started B, went towards A, through the harbor wall towards A, and walked all the way back to B. And there was only 2 players there, where originally there was 3. I think that's like one of the key moments where I think you might not see it often, but when they do it, it really works.
Yeah, for this team, it is those late rounds that have continued to improve each and every week. But a player who has really been stepping up for the squad as well has been Calm, who throughout that series just looked so incredibly confident on both of his roles, be it the Sova or that Viper.
You know, Brenton, you brought up pop-offs, and Calm is here, bro. He came up, he came to play. His lurks were incredible. His util usage, the stats don't reflect it as much. His darts on Fracture were insane. The amount of, wall bangs and wall hacks they got for like players like Ethan to spam through smokes. Like his util across the series has been great. And his lurks on Pearl, just through the back line and then breaking the pieces of util, like the Sensi util to set him up for those lurks, incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin played insane today. I mean, on attack on Pearl specifically was where I was looking. His Viper play was looking masterful. The way he was using his util for off his teammates, getting the perfect timings in the flank, and then on the few post-plant rounds he had, I mean, just unreal from the Viper play. I mean, you can't really ask for much better than that.
They got to close it out as well, and that's a tough one for Sentinels, as you can see up there on the wall. Probably a pretty brutal loss for all of their fans and for the players as well. They're now in a really tough position in the standings, 2-5, I believe. It feels like playoff hopes are kind of starting to strip away.
I think we all expected that match to go a lot more closer than it was. And for Sentinels, I can't imagine, being in their position right now. They must feel really hard on themselves, especially after last week, thinking they can bounce back, have a closer series against a team that was ranked, lower on the leaderboards than Cloud9 were in terms of NA teams. So it's a tough loss for sure. I think I saw Kaplan mention last week about energy issues and confidence in the match. So it's definitely something they're going to have to sit down and really talk about. If they really want to get into playoffs, it's these last 2 they need to secure.
Well, it's been a tough last few weeks for Sentinels, but for EG, that's now 2 wins in a row over Leviathan and just now over Sentinels, putting them in a pretty good position for the rest of the season. But to hear more about that match, we have Ethan standing by in our Verizon post-match interview.
Thank you so much, Mimi. I am on the floor with Evil Geniuses. Ethan, I'm getting smarter by standing here right now. It's incredible. I can feel it. Ethan, talk to me about these last few games that the team's played. It looks revitalized. The team's feeling good. What has kind of changed since what we saw in the beginning, besides the team itself?
Yeah, definitely getting really comfortable in our system and our style. It took us a little bit. It was a rough start, and you know, we're coming out hot in the first map now, so that's what we needed. We were starting off pretty slow before.
Was there a lot of countering going into today's game, or was this just EG's game moving forward and Sentinels fell into it and the trap?
Yeah, this was all just us, honestly, playing really well. I mean, there's them getting Marv back in. There's really not that much to counter. Just hope he doesn't play well, and you know, so.
And if we look at your games, even just behind those two, Loud, Furia, within 3 rounds, almost 2-0ing Loud, what do you think it was that kept the team at that point from closing out the games? What was plaguing Evil Geniuses?
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe my video. Wait, my YouTube. Hopefully you guys enjoy my stream, and see you guys to the next